Everyone grows up hearing that making a deal with the devil is the worst bargain in history. Horror movies and urban legends always portray the underworld as a place of eternal suffering. But what if hell is actually a massive upgrade compared to your normal life here on Earth? That's exactly the brilliant premise of Welcome to Demon School Iruma-Kun. Here, the protagonist isn't a chosen hero. He's an unlucky kid sold off by his outrageously irresponsible parents to a powerful demon. The twist? Instead of becoming barbecue, he gains an overprotective grandfather who dotes on him endlessly, and a life of luxury he's never had before. The real charm of this anime isn't just the tension of watching a human try to survive in a school full of monsters without being discovered. It's seeing how he, without a single drop of magic, wins everyone over. From arrogant rivals to terrifying teachers, through sheer kindness and an almost supernatural talent for dodging danger. It's one of those rare series that blends isekai-style chaos with genuinely heartwarming moments. So today on the channel, welcome to Demon School Iruma-Kun, the anime that proves that sometimes family is who you choose, even if they're demons. We open on a fishing trawler in the middle of a storm, straight out of The Perfect Storm. Poor Iruma is working his bone to the marrow because his parents are world-class deadbeats. Giant frozen tuna start raining from the sky, but Iruma goes full Ultra Instinct, or maybe he's Neo from the Matrix, dodging every single one with superhuman reflexes. Suddenly, time freezes, and the boy realizes he's literally been sold. The buyer? A demon named Sullivan, who whisks him away to the Netherworld. It's a bizarre setup. Iruma thinks he's about to become dinner, but Sullivan is actually just a needy old demon who wanted a grandson to spoil and brag about to his friends. The old man begs Iruma to accept the role, promising him a life of pampered luxury. The catch? Iruma has a fatal flaw. He is physically incapable of saying no. Think Jim Carrey in Yes Man. After some serious psychological guilt-tripping from Grandpa, Iruma signs the contract. In the blink of an eye, he's got a posh bedroom and the uniform for Babyliss, a school for demons.
I just became a demon. What is this?
Your education! You look so perfect in it!
The only tiny detail, if anyone finds out he's human, he's lunch. Sullivan solves this by dousing him in perfume to mask that freshly cooked meal scent. The next day, reality hits. It wasn't a dream. Iruma heads to school with his doting grandfather and his assistant, Opera. At the opening ceremony, Iruma tries to play it invisible, but bad luck follows him like a shadow. The school anthem is literally about human flesh, and to make matters worse, Sullivan is the principal. He calls his beloved grandson to the stage to give the freshman speech in place of the top student. Iruma reads a paper his grandfather gave him, unknowingly reciting a dangerous forbidden spell that prevents the caster from falling. The entire school is stunned by his bravery, except for one guy, Asmodeus Alice, the Draco Malfoy-style prodigy who is livid about losing his spotlight. Asmodeus challenges Iruma to a duel in the courtyard. The demon hurls fireballs worthy of the Human Torch, but Iruma uses his years of traumatic life experience to dodge everything.
Your body!
The crowd thinks Iruma is styling on his rival by refusing to even attack. When Asmodeus goes for a final strike with a fire sword, Iruma tries to catch him. The anti-fall spell kicks in and BAM! Iruma lands a perfect German suplex, WWE style.
Careful, watch out!
A perfectly executed German suplex.
Asmodeus wakes up in the infirmary and through some twisted demon logic decides he is now Iruma's loyal servant for losing the fight. Our protagonist, who just wanted to apologize, now has a fanatical follower and has become the biggest celebrity on campus. While Professor Caligo, who radiates major grumpy Squidward energy, reads about Asmodeus's defeat, we learn that today is the day for summoning familiars. It's like Pokemon, but straight from hell. Back at home, Iruma is being pampered. The kid has never eaten this well in his life and is moved to tears by breakfast. Sullivan, the ultimate Grandpazilla, showers him with gifts and tries to film his first day, but Opera shuts him down. At school, Iruma finds Asmodeus has been waiting for him at the gates for 6 hours, proving he's the most loyal and intense friend anyone could have. They head to the summoning class with Caligo. The professor makes it clear he hates chaos, and more specifically, he hates Sullivan. So Iruma is already on his blacklist. Caligo explains that if a familiar doesn't obey, the master is the one punished. Asmodeus goes first and summons a massive Gorgon snake, proving he's top tier. Then it's Iruma's turn. He's breaking out in a cold sweat because he has zero magic. Kiriwo is itching to expel the kid if he fails. Iruma places his blood-marked paper on the summoning circle and, surprise! Since the paper had Kiriwo's seal on it and humans are the ones who summon demons, Iruma summons the professor himself. Kiriwo tries to resist but is dragged through the portal and transformed into a cute little owl with bat wings. Basically, a demonic version of a Furby.
Oh no! Huh.
The class thinks Iruma is a genius for turning a teacher into his pet. Kiriwo, humiliated in his bird form, tries to attack Iruma but gets hit with a shock of obedience. Summary: the most feared teacher in school is now the Pokemon of the student he hates most. After the chaos, Iruma's fame explodes. While he and Asmodeus walk the halls, they hear a strange noise. From a pile of boxes emerges Clara, a girl with the energy of Pinkie Pie after 10 energy drinks. Asmodeus tries to protect his master from this whirlwind, but Clara just wants to play. And as we know, Iruma can't say no. Clara is pure chaos incarnate. Asmodeus tries to pull Iruma away, but she uses the magic word, please. Iruma, the yes man, agrees to play.
Kids, as, what do you want to play?
Iruma-Kins.
As?
Please.
Please, please, please.
Clara has magic pockets like Mary Poppins and pulls out all sorts of junk to keep them entertained. They play make-believe, and even the serious Asmodeus joins in so he won't be left out. Later, Clara offers snacks and reveals she can create anything she's ever seen. That's when things get heavy. A few freeloading students show up asking for free stuff. Clara gives it to them with a smile because she thinks she has to buy friendship so people won't leave her. It's absolutely heartbreaking. The next day, the trio plays again. Clara starts showering Iruma with expensive gifts, terrified he'll get bored of her. The bullies are nearby, laughing at her and calling her a useful idiot. Clara hears them but pretends she doesn't care. When she tries to push more gifts on Iruma, he refuses. Clara panics, thinking she's about to be abandoned, but Iruma gets real with her. He wants to play with her, not her stuff. It's the ultimate wholesome moment.
I don't need any of those things. They're not why I was playing with you.
You really mean it?
Yeah, really.
Overjoyed, when the bullies come back for more soda, Clara summons an entire vending machine and crushes them, Wile E. Coyote style. Asmodeus finishes the job by threatening the jerks, and the trio ends the day in a paint war. At school, there's a cultural clash when Iruma tries to explain the concept of friends to the demons who have never heard of it. Clara and Asmodeus immediately become obsessed with being the best friend. In the cafeteria, Iruma shows he has the stomach of Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, inhaling mountain-sized portions and drawing everyone's gaze. Kiriwo shows up to ruin the fun, but Clara jumps on him, calls him Eggy-Teach, and makes Iruma summon him in his cute owl form in front of the whole school again. Finally, Sullivan organizes the classes. To protect his grandson's identity, he puts Iruma, Asmodeus, and Clara in the abnormal class. Basically, they just joined the demon version of the Breakfast Club. Breakfast is fit for a king, and Sullivan drops a bombshell. Iruma is headed to the misfit class. The boy thinks it's great, hoping to stay hidden, but little does he know he's just stepped into a powder keg. At least the dream team is together since Az and Clara are in the same class. On the way to school, there's a near slip-up. Az asks why Iruma doesn't fly, and our favorite human breaks into a cold sweat, but the demon is so loyal he invents a reason in his own head. Iruma is just doing cardio to stay in shape. Arriving at the classroom, which looks like a horror movie set, Iruma is pushed by Clara and falls into a trap full of blades. He dodges like he's in the Matrix.
It's open.
But we quickly meet Sabnok Sabro, the new rival. The guy is built like a fridge, wants to be the demon king, and took every weapon to the chest because he thinks dodging is for cowards. He's basically that RPG player who puts every point into strength and 0 into intelligence. The tension between Az and Sabnok boils over, but Kiriwo arrives to restore order and sends everyone to a flying race. It's like a Hunger Games trial, but with school ranks on the line. There's the safe path and the you're gonna die path, known as the Valley of the Cutthroat. Sabnok, with the subtlety of a bulldozer, picks the death path. The race starts, and since Iruma can't fly, Kiriwo solves the problem by kicking the kid off a cliff. While Az flies at breakneck speeds with Clara on his back, Iruma falls into the nest of a demonic crow. The bird is injured, and Iruma, channeling his inner Dr. Dolittle, uses his own human blood to heal the creature's wound. Instead of becoming a snack, he gets a VIP ride.
Just get it over with quickly.
Meanwhile, Sabnok is getting pummeled by the Guardian of the Valley and realizes he might have bitten off more than he can chew. The brute tries everything, even biting his metal necklace to forge weapons, but he can't even scratch the monster. He even has a dramatic flashback about doing this for his siblings, but mid-memory, he realizes he's lying to himself. He wants to be Demon King just because he thinks it's cool. It's the shallowest, most honest motivation ever. Just as the Guardian prepares a fatality, Iruma steps in like a Marvel hero pleading for peace. Turns out the big monster was just angry because its baby was hurt. Since Iruma healed the chick, he's now the king of the jungle. The duo reaches the finish line riding the Guardian, shocking everyone who is already preparing their funeral. Kalago nearly has a stroke.
All of you, stay back!
Sabnok, humbled for the first time, declares Iruma his official rival. Now it's time for the sorting hat moment. Here, it's a ranking owl. Az gets a high rank, obviously, but when Iruma reaches in, the owl screams and flies away. Instead of a badge, Iruma gets a bizarre golden ring. Suddenly, black smoke erupts from the ring and starts draining everyone's energy like a hungry Dementor. Sullivan swoops in to save the day, calms the ring of gluttony, and explains that Iruma now has a portable mana battery. In the end, Iruma receives the rank of Alice, the lowest of the low. He celebrates, thinking he'll finally fly under the radar. The irony? After arriving on a legendary monster and nearly killing the school with a cursed ring, he is officially the most famous student on campus. The episode starts with Amelie, the student council president, who is connecting the dots and is certain Iruma is human. Meanwhile, Sullivan takes his grandson to school in a carriage that draws more attention than Lady Daga's limo, complete with a red carpet and a new hell phone as a gift. Iruma's plan to be discreet is officially dead.
Give me a break, will you?
Iruma, sir!
Oh, grandson!
That's it. No more standing out.
In botany class, Professor Suzy teaches a spell to make flowers grow by saying Quan Quan. Az creates an elegant fire flower. Sabnok makes a mutant carnivorous plant. And Clara makes something that defies science. Iruma tries, but with no magic of his own, he uses the ring. The problem? The ring draws Sullivan's massive mana. And Iruma creates not a flower, but a colossal cherry blossom tree that smashes through the school roof.
Quan. Just kidding. Huh?
Cherry blossom.
It's the most beautiful and dangerous thing they've ever seen. Amelie sees this and confirms her suspicions. She has a secret, a collection of human shoujo manga called First Love Memories. But since she can't read Japanese, she thinks they're grimoires for mind control spells. After cleaning up the tree mess, Iruma literally bumps into Amelie in the hallway. The scene is identical to a panel from her manga. Amelie panics, thinking Iruma is casting a forbidden love spell on her, when he's actually just being polite. The girl is living a rom-com in her head while trying to unmask the human invader. It's the perfect clash of duty and fan fiction. Amelie starts the encounter in high tension mode, grabbing Iruma's face like she's about to crush it. But what looks like an execution turns into a slapstick rom-com when they fumble and drop the forbidden manga, First Love Memories. Here's the plot twist. Not only can Iruma read it, but he actually worked as an assistant on that very manga in the human world. It's like finding an ancient sacred text and realizing you were the one who checked the typos. Amelie realizes he can read the forbidden texts and drags him to her office. Poor Iruma is sweating bullets, thinking it's a CIA-style interrogation, but the reality is quite different. She serves tea and cookies and basically turns Iruma into her private audiobook. Since she can't read Japanese, she needs him to translate and perform the cheesy lines from the shoujo manga. Meanwhile, Iruma's fan club is in meltdown. Az and Clara notice their friend disappearing every day and keeping secrets. Sabnok, who is a brute but not an idiot, suggests they tail him. Az tries to maintain a respect his privacy stance, but curiosity wins out, and the duo becomes a low-budget spy team complete with ridiculous sunglasses.
Are these really all you have? You don't have any other styles at all?
I want these ones! Give me it.
Back in the office, the reading session gets deep. Iruma reads a part about dreams and ambitions, and Amelie opens her heart. Her dream is ambitious. She wants the school to be an incredible place for all demons. Oh, and maybe work in a cute bakery later. When she asks what Iruma's dream is, the boy freezes. It's a real-life blue screen of death. He spent so much time just trying not to be eaten that he never stopped to think about what he wants out of life. It's a reality check in the middle of a fantasy world. Iruma's existential crisis continues, but Amelie, stepping into the role of motivational coach, gives him the golden tip: climb the ranks. If he wants to find a goal, he can start by mastering the school hierarchy, but before he can process that, Clara crashes the scene with the grace of a wrecking ball, literally, interrupting the moment with the jealousy of someone who thinks she's losing her best friend. Speaking of Clara, this episode belongs to her. Feeling like she's losing ground to the student council president, she decides to bring out the big guns and signs up for Professor Rhyme's seduction class. The goal? To learn how to be a fatal succubus. The problem? When Rhyme measures the class's sex appeal, Clara scores a staggering 2%.
There's nothing to...
What follows is the most disastrous training montage in history. Clara tries to be sensual, and the result is pure chaos. Her sexy pose looks like a corporate stretching routine. Her attempt at a soft touch looks like a sumo wrestling move, and when she tries to use pheromones, she overdoes it and turns the hallway into a gas chamber, sending boys running with stinging eyes. She is the polar opposite of Black Widow. After failing miserably and nearly sending Professor Kiriwo to the hospital with a botched blowing a kiss attempt, Clara is in the dumps, but our protagonist, with that accidental protagonist charisma, finds her and says the perfect thing. He says he doesn't want her to be lonely. This gives the girl a confidence boost, bumping her from 2% to 10% sex appeal instantly. She vows to make him fall in love. And Iruma, without knowing it, just created a cute and dangerous monster.
You'll fall head over heels for me. Oh man, I feel better now.
Determined to stop being an Aleph and climb the ladder, Iruma shares his plan with Asmodeus. The fire demon reacts in the most over-the-top way possible, weeping with joy and already declaring Iruma the future demon king. Humility? Never heard of her. The method to rank up? A game called Execution Cannonball. It's basically dodgeball, but with super strong demons throwing balls that look like meteors. Sabnok joins in and shows off, hurling bricks that would make NFL pros run for the hills. Iruma realizes that with his pathetic human strength, he has zero chance of winning on offense. He asks Grandpa Sullivan for help, who gets all giddy wanting to assist. The problem is Sullivan's training involves mountain-level nuclear magic. Iruma, being the good guy he is, refuses the magical cheats. He wants to play fair. This makes Grandpa even prouder, and the coaching job passes to Opera. That's when things get serious. Opera's training is brutal.
Let's begin.
Wait! Hang on! Hold up! Wait!
Since Iruma has a passive god-tier dodge skill from a life spent avoiding danger, he's impossible to hit. But in dodgeball, you have to actually catch the ball too. Opera spends days bombarding the kid, who keeps dodging by pure survival instinct. It's like Rocky Balboa's training, but the trainer is a stoic, terrifying cat. After scraping his hands and running until he's exhausted, Iruma finally manages to override his flight instinct and catch a ball. It's a small step for a demon, but a giant leap for a fragile human. With bandaged hands and his personal cheering squad, Az and Clara, behind him, Iruma is ready for the tournament, proving that even lettuce hands can evolve. The day of the big game, Execution Cannonball, has arrived. Iruma tries to act confident at breakfast, but inside he's shaking like a leaf. Opera, with the coolness of a Jedi Master, gives it to him straight. In hell, fear is synonymous with humiliation. The secret is to turn that terror into excitement. Reprogram the brain to face danger head on. At school, the atmosphere is like the Super Bowl. Kiriwo, via a magic screen, explains the rules. It's dodgeball, but if you use magic directly on an opponent, you're disqualified. Magic is only allowed on the ball, and of course the team split is a disaster for Asmodeus. He and Iruma are on opposite sides. The Fireboy goes into a full-blown soap opera meltdown over having to face his master, but Kiriwo insists it's for balance. The game starts, and the opposing team quickly realizes that attacking Iruma is a waste of time because the kid dodges better than Neo in The Matrix. Sabnok, trying to show off, tries to carry the whole game alone, but his lack of teamwork teamwork costs them, and chaos ensues. In the middle of the mess, Iruma catches the ball. The problem? He can't throw. People think he's charging a special move, but it's really just pure clumsiness. Asmodeus enters MVP mode and starts clearing the court, eliminating everyone until it's just him and Iruma. Then comes the dramatic moment. Az thinks about throwing the game for his friend, but realizes that would be an insult to Iruma's effort. He decides to go full throttle, stoking his flames and preparing a nuclear throw. In the stands, Amelie watches closely, masking her interest as student council analysis. Asmodeus launches the ball with absurd power. Iruma, remembering Opera's words, ignores his instinct to run and catches the projectile. The force is so great it nearly rips his arm off, but in a brilliant judo move, he spins his body and uses Asmodeus's own momentum to hurl the ball back, eliminating his rival. Victory for Iruma.
There it is! Get back!
Even the cranky Kiriwo recognizes the masterstroke and promotes the boy to rank bat. Asmodeus is overjoyed by his own defeat, proving he's the protagonist's biggest fan. Later, at home, Iruma feels the pride of ambition and earned achievement for the first time, leaving Sullivan glowing and Opera satisfied with his pupil, despite the bandaged hands. Iruma continues his routine as Amelie's official manga reader. They're reading a romantic scene where the protagonist faces her fears to confess her love, which reminds Iruma of his dodgeball match. The atmosphere gets a bit tense, the good kind, but the bell rings and kills the vibe for the potential couple. Iruma leaves wondering what his next goal should be. In class, we meet Robin, the new teacher who is the definition of an airhead. He's super enthusiastic, but forgot that classes had already started. His first lesson, familiar interaction. Iruma's nightmare is back. The class heads to the courtyard. Asmodeus summons a sinister gorgon snake, and Sabnock brings out a Kelby, a monstrous water horse. Clara, being Clara, summons a bizarre creature and tames it with a bun.
Chunky kind, just like you wanted.
Then it's Iruma's turn. There's no escape. He has to summon his familiar, which happens to be Professor Kiriwo. The scene is priceless. Kiriwo appears in his cute bird form and is furious, but the magical contract forces him to obey. Robin, completely clueless, thinks the pet is adorable and forces Iruma to do pet store activities, like playing frisbee and dancing. Seeing Kiriwo, the most serious demon in school, forced to fetch a disc like an obedient golden retriever, is the peak of humiliation.
Oh, he's got it! Amazing!
But the fun ends when Asmodeus and Sabnock start brawling. Kiriwo loses his patience, knocks down the students' giant familiars, and delivers a stern lecture. A familiar must be feared and respected, or it will turn on its master. He turns his humiliation into a lesson on authority. At lunch, Iruma enjoys the superior food of rank bet, but the calm doesn't last. Suddenly, a horde of girls surrounds the table, drooling over Asmodeus. When they realize Iruma ranked up, the attention shifts to him, but an alarm blares and everyone bolts. Asmodeus explains that the Battler Hunt has begun, an event where upperclassmen hunt freshmen to recruit them for battlers, school clubs. It's basically a mix of the Hunger Games and Freshman Welcome Week. The alarm cuts out and all hell breaks loose. Literally, a mob of crazed upperclassmen swarms the freshman building like a pack of horror movie zombies, desperate to fill their club, or rather, battler, vacancies. As the most popular student on campus, Asmodeus is their primary target, but he manages to throw up a wall of fire to protect the trio. The recruitment window is short, exactly 66 minutes, which explains the sheer desperation. Things only settle down when the student council arrives to restore order. Amelie, commanding absolute respect, disperses the crowd. In a discreet move, she hands Iruma a student council application, pretending it's just standard bureaucracy, but we all know she just wants the human nearby. With the initial chaos over, the trial period begins. Students have 3 days to pick a battler. The trio scouts the halls. Asmodeus incinerates every flyer handed to him. Lid looks for a gaming club to slack off in, and Jazz wants a group that brings in the cash. Sabnock finds his niche in the Demon King Battler, expecting a fight, but discovering a group of nerds obsessed with history. To everyone's surprise, he loves it. During the search, Iruma's ring starts acting up, dragging him through the hallways like a malfunctioning magnet. He crashes into a boy who is coughing up blood. Don't panic, he's not dying. Well, technically he is, but that's just a typical Tuesday for him.
Sorry, are you okay? Is he dead?
This is Kiriwo, a rank Beck upperclassman with weak magic who builds magical apparatuses to compensate. He's like the Tony Stark of this world, minus the billions and with a very fragile constitution. Iruma instantly clicks with his underdog with potential vibe. After the weird encounter, Iruma heads home and tells Sullivan about the haywire ring. His grandpa adjusts the ring to 3 power levels. The highest, Devil Mode, is extremely dangerous and drains all available magic. The next day, while testing the cannonball, dodgeball, battler, Iruma tries out the ring. The result isn't exactly impressive, but he gets an invite anyway. Later, while trying to reply to a text from Amelie, an explosion rocks the school. Iruma rushes to the source and finds Kiriwo in the middle of the smoke, a clear sign that this magical apparatus battler is going to be a blast, quite literally. Amelie is turning the student council room into something out of an HGTV home makeover show, demanding absolute perfection in the decor. The rest of the council thinks she's setting the stage to recruit Asmodeus, since landing a powerful noble would be a massive PR win. Little do they know, the president is just trying to impress Iruma. Meanwhile, Iruma, who still has no clue Amelie basically runs the school, the upperclassman explains that the magical apparatus battler is basically just him in a messy room trying to make magic and technology play nice. Kiriwo shows off his ambitious inventions, but they're all missing a key component. Iruma, drawing on his rough life as a human, where he had to fix appliances just to survive, solves the problem by piecing together a puzzle of loose parts in the blink of an eye. Kiriwo is floored by the freshman's skill.
No way! Come on, I want to hear all about it! Not again!
The senior's dream is noble, creating tech so weak demons can compete with the elite. He really is the underworld's Tony Stark, just without the budget. The problem is, Iruma loses track of time and accidentally stands Amelie up. When he finally reaches the council, the president is in a total slump, thinking he bailed. But Iruma turns on the anime protagonist charm, apologizes and praises the decor, which by the way is entirely based on her favorite shoujo manga, First Love Memories. The vibe shifts, they share some tea, but Amelie is a bit stung when she realizes that instead of joining her, Iruma has joined the Mad Scientist Club. Elsewhere, the mood is much heavier. The 13 crowns, the big shots of the Netherworld, are meeting at the Babel Tower. Half of them are missing, and those who showed up are arguing about the next Demon King with the maturity of a bar fight. When they ask Sullivan for his take, he pulls out photos of Iruma and starts acting like a doting grandpa, forcing everyone to look at his family album, completely ignoring the politics.
Behold, I have a grandchild now too.
Oh, he's a cutie.
In the end, Sullivan refuses the throne because he wants to focus on being a grandfather, but peace is short-lived. Amelie's father, Henry, who heads Demon Border Control, arrives with a warrant. Sullivan is arrested on suspicion of illegally crossing into the human world. News of Sullivan's arrest hits the mansion, but Opera answers the phone with the calmness of someone ordering a pizza. The chair demon is being interrogated, but his biggest concern isn't jail. It's missing his gaming session with his grandson. Opera hangs up on him and goes to play with Iruma, assuring the boy that Grandpa is just busy with business. At school, everyone is prepping for the Battler Party, which is basically a science fair mixed with Parent-Teacher Day. The nerves are high, and the Iruma starts feeling that classic anxiety, remembering how his human parents never showed up for anything. With Sullivan gone, Caligo takes over as acting principal, and hates every second of the bureaucracy, especially with Professor Robin bouncing around him. Meanwhile, our main trio arrives at their battler and finds they've been shoved into a tiny corner. The magical apparatus. Battler's reputation is so bad they've been relegated to a literal storage room. Asmodeus is ready to incinerate anyone who talks trash, but Iruma focuses on the solution. They need a showstopper. Iruma's idea? Fireworks. The problem is, in the demon world, colorful explosions in the sky sound like anti-aircraft weaponry, not entertainment. To explain the concept, Iruma needs a visual reference. He heads to the student council and in a Mission Impossible style operation, convinces Amelie to lend him the forbidden manga containing drawings of fireworks. She pretends she forgot the book there for him to take, secretly dying to see the magic happen in real life. With the plan set, the group has a sleepover at school to get the work done. It's a wholesome moment involving a pillow fight where Kiriwo, looking like a ghost in a white nightgown, joins Iruma against Clara and Asmodeus. It's all laughs until Kiriwo steps out to answer the phone. The vibe instantly shifts from teen comedy to psychological thriller. Ball is on the other end. Sullivan's arrest was a setup. Kiriwo confirms everything is ready to destroy the school tomorrow. The nice upperclassman is actually the mole.
Oh, I was just doing some work with the other members.
Shut up!
Yes, sir. It's good to go.
The hype for the battler party is through the roof, complete with a promotional video of the teachers placing bets on which club will shine. Iruma discovers the grand prize is a rank increase for all members. This lights a competitive fire in him. Winning the top prize would be the perfect way to prove his worth. While Clara and Asmodeus prep the firework launch pad and scare off some bullies trying to mess with the project, Iruma goes looking for Kiriwo. His ring acts like a glitchy GPS again and drags him toward a hidden wall. Inside, Kiriwo is having a full-on villain monologue moment. He stares at the school through a secret window, thinking about the massive casualties his plan will cause. He feels a flicker of conflict over betraying the freshman's trust, but dismisses it as a necessary evil. Suddenly, Iruma walks into the secret room. Kiriwo quickly hides his genocidal plans behind a smile. Unaware he's talking to a terrorist about to blow everything up, Iruma looks out the window. Kiriwo gives a speech about equality, and Iruma, in his innocence, thinks he's talking about inspiration, not leveling the playing field through destruction. The boy delivers a motivational speech of his own, vowing they'll win the prize and shock the whole school. The irony is palpable. Iruma's pure determination actually motivates Kiriwo to double down on his evil plot. Back in the courtyard, the trio reunites. The launch pad is decorated with Clara's signature aesthetic chaos, but Kiriwo approves. The day ends with everyone facing their personal demons, literally. At the Asmodeus mansion, the butler is tasked with the impossible mission of keeping Az's mother away from the party, as she is every teenage son's worst nightmare. At Sullivan's place, Opera almost tells Iruma the truth about the arrest, but decides to keep the secret to protect his mood. The stage is set. Iruma wants to win the contest with fireworks, and Kiriwo wants to use the event to turn the school into ash. The party is about to start, and it promises to be explosive for all the wrong reasons.
It's finally time.
The eve of the battler party has kicked off at Babyliss, and the hype is like the Olympic opening ceremonies, but with demon teenagers. Our trio decides to scout the competition before the big show. They stop at a yakisoba stall where the cook issues the classic eat it all and it's free challenge. Big mistake. Iruma goes full Pac-Man, or maybe Hungry Goku, and demolishes a mountain of noodles in seconds, bankrupting the yakisoba battler before the party even starts.
Can I try that?
Oh, you think you can handle that? Huh?
Thanks for the little snack, you guys.
After running into Sabnock, who is starring in a play where he plays the king, talk about an ego, and checking out some VR inventions, the gang gets back to business. The fireworks. The plan is simple and cinematic. When the bell tolls, boom! Lights in the sky. Asmodeus preps the fire magic, but Clara, impatient as ever, lights the fuse early. The trio hits the deck expecting a Michael Bay-style explosion, but nothing happens. The cannon is empty. Someone swiped the payload. Meanwhile, far from the festivities, we cut to a prison chess match. Sullivan remains in custody, playing against Amelie's father Henry in a scene with Queen's Gambit vibes mixed with Netherworld political tension. But the real trouble is brewing in the school's secret room. Kiriwo, who has mysteriously vanished, is up there channeling his inner suspense movie villain. Back at school, Iruma tries to defend Kiriwo, believing his friend is innocent, but reality hits hard. Kiriwo smashes an amulet, releasing an absurd wave of magic. Suddenly, the entire school is encased in invisible barriers. It's Under the Dome meets The Simpsons movie. No one can get in or out, and groups are isolated from one another.
I have no idea, but we should probably get out.
Kiriwo tries to take charge, but realizes even his brute force can't puncture the bubble. Kiriwo watches from above like a Roman emperor watching the circus burn, ready for phase 2 of his master plan. While everyone else tries and fails to punch through the walls, Amelie, trapped in the student council room, channels her inner shoujo heroine to stay calm and lead the students. On the faculty side, Kiriwo and Robin become an unlikely buddy cop duo. The grumpy professor realizes that if panic spreads, it's game over. So, he broadcasts a white lie over the PA system. He announces the invisible barriers are part of a giant labyrinth, a surprise attraction for the party. The lie works, and the students think they're in a fun Maze Runner scenario. Unaware they're being held hostage by a terrorist, Iruma, being the only one with enough context to connect the dots, knows he needs to reach the third-year tower. But how do you navigate an invisible maze? Enter the MVP of strategy, Asmodeus. He turns Clara's paper soldiers into magical scouts, creating a real-time GPS system and guiding Iruma through the halls like like a strategy RPG. While the trio pulls off this speed run to save the day, Kalego breaks into the school records and finds Kiriwo's criminal file. The order is clear: capture the traitor, but Iruma is already there. He reaches the hidden wall, the villain's lair. The boy is ready to confront his friend, not knowing he's walking into the lion's den, or rather the control room of a psychopath about to press the red button.
He should be here, right behind this wall.
Iruma.
Iruma finally enters the secret room and the barrier opens for him. Classic villain move, inviting the hero in for the final monologue. And that's exactly what happens. Kiriwo drops the fragile boy act and reveals the time bomb rigged to his machine, ready to blow the whole school to kingdom come. In his innocence, Iruma asks, why? Then comes the origin story, but don't expect a misunderstood anti-hero. Kiriwo explains he was born weak into a powerful family and went to a cutthroat school. He had a friend there, who was a ray of sunshine. When bullies threw her into a river, Kiriwo tried to save it with a barrier, but failed. Seeing the girl's look of absolute despair didn't make him feel sad. It gave him a rush. The guy is literally the Joker. He's addicted to seeing people's hope break.
Wow, I would kill to see that face just one more time. It got me unbelievably excited.
He doesn't want to destroy the school for an ideology. He wants to do it to see the look on everyone's faces. He's a pure sociopath. He reveals he's working with Ball and wants to see Iruma despair too. But our blue-haired boy is like, no thanks. Iruma drops a heavy line. Despair is a waste of time. Instead of crying, he goes full Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible. With the timer hitting 0, Iruma grabs the bomb and jumps out the window. Yes, he leaps off a tower. Kiriwo's barrier is designed to keep the explosion inside, thinking it will trap the blast and kill the boy. But Kiriwo forgot one detail. Iruma has the Ring of the Demon Lord. Iruma unleashes the ring's maximum level, Pandorula mode. It's raw power enough to make Thanos jealous. He summons a magical dragon that shatters the impenetrable barrier and carries the bomb into the stratosphere. The explosion happens at the exact moment the bell tolls, turning a terrorist attack into the most beautiful fireworks display the school has ever seen. Kiriwo, defeated ideologically and watching his plan fail, ironically uses his magic to save Iruma from the fall. Good wins, the show goes on, and the villain is left looking like a fool. While the entire school is mesmerized by the glowing sky, Iruma wakes up dazed and finds Sullivan waiting for him. It turns out the chair demon is more broken than a modded video game character. Before the fireworks went off, he didn't just catch an undodgeable magic arrow with his bare hands. He arrived at the school, froze time Matrix style, and redirected all the lethal debris from the barrier to make them look like part of the pyrotechnics. Grandpa turned a terrorist attack into a Disney spectacular. The faculty raids the hideout and finds Kiriwo. The traitor doesn't even fight back. He surrenders with that disturbing little smirk of someone who enjoyed the ride, even if he crashed at the end. He saw the despair on Iruma's face, and for a sadist like him, that was worth the price of admission. Kiriwo is taken away, leaving a message for Iruma that sounds almost friendly if you ignore the part where he tried to blow everyone up. Sullivan carries Iruma on his shoulders to the window, and instead of a scolding, the kid gets a standing ovation. The student body thinks he planned the giant fireworks display. Iruma, the master of accidental improv, rolls with it to prevent a panic. He reunites with Asmodeus and Clara, but decides to keep Kiriwo's dark secret to himself for now, preserving the memory of the friendship they once had. The next day is the closing ceremony and the Battler vote. If you thought Clara was chaotic, wait until you meet her family. The Addams family on hyperdrive shows up in full force, singing musical numbers and making the Weasley brothers look calm. Right after, Asmodeus' mother, Amaryllis, appears. She's one of the 13 crowns and radiates that cool mom energy that absolutely mortifies her teenage son. Asmodeus practically drags her away before she seduces the entire school. The day ends with a rare moment of peace. Iruma walks with Sullivan and Opera, winning prizes and seeing how much the students love the chair demon. They run into Lid and Jabs, who are bummed out about being ignored by their families and are shocked to hear Iruma say that his grandpa and butler are his greatest pride. The trio takes a photo together, cementing the fact that family isn't just blood, it's the people who freeze time to save your skin. Everyone is biting their nails in the auditorium waiting for the winners to be announced, but Professor Dolly pulls a reality show host move and delays the results until the very end. When the ceremony finally happens, Amelie takes the stage. The succubus battler and the new magic battler take home minor prizes, but the grand prize goes to the broadcasting battler. It's a total La La Land Oscar shocker. Everyone expected Iruma's team to win because of the fireworks, but the judges valued the reporter's composure during the chaos. But wait, there's a plot twist. Kiriwo takes the stage and invents the tricky award for Iruma and his team, basically a merit of honor for diving into danger. The result? Iruma ranks up, skipping straight to level 3, Gimel. He's officially a big deal now. What should be a good thing turns into a PR nightmare. Iruma becomes more famous than a TikTok star, with paparazzi and students stalking him 24/7.
Lighting up at lightning rain! First interview, please!
And we need a picture too! I'm not good at interviews!
Face, come on!
In the midst of this unwanted fame, Henri, Amelie's dad and the head of the demon police, corners Iruma. The tension is thick. Henri isn't stupid. He saw how Sullivan protected the boy and put 2 and 2 together. He lays his cards on the table. I know you're human. Henri reveals he's caught humans before, wiped their memories, and sent them back home. Total Men in Black style. He's about to offer Iruma a way out, but Amelie swoops in to save her crush. Henri, seeing his daughter all love-struck and defending the boy, goes into overprotective dad mode and completely forgets the interrogation. In the confusion, Iruma reflects on the offer. Going back to the human world would be the logical choice, but then he looks at his friends, at Clara and Asmodeus, who vow to stay by his side no matter what. Iruma realizes his place is here in the Netherworld, surrounded by these lovable weirdos. He decides to stay and protect his secret at all costs. While Iruma tries to navigate his status as a school D-list celebrity, the underworld is obsessed with Kiriwo and Dem Doll. Think of her as the Taylor Swift of the demon world. Her shows aren't just entertainment, they're a public health service. Her cuteness soothes the masses and keeps them from entering their evil cycle, the state where demons revert to their violent, primitive instincts. At school, the gossip is that Iruma is stealing Kiriwo's headlines in the newspapers. This leaves a certain student in the abnormal class seething with rage. Enter Amelie, the shy girl with glasses that no one notices. Well, plot twist. Amelie is Kiriwo.
I'm definitely most comfortable when I look like this. I mean, it's the same as...
She uses her idol persona to get revenge on the family that looked down on her for being magically weak, proving that charisma is its own kind of power. By coincidence and plot convenience, the broadcasting battler, feeling guilty for winning the grand prize over Iruma, gives him and his friends VIP tickets to Kiriwo's show. They head to the Makubari Dome and of course score backstage access. In the dressing room, Amelie tries to maintain her cover, but Iruma activates Sherlock Holmes mode. He doesn't use magic, he uses observation. He notices her hands, the way she clenches her fist, and connects the dots instantly. The super pop star is his quiet classmate. Amelie goes into a total tailspin. She can't believe the densest guy in school figured out her secret just by paying attention, something even her family failed to do. The situation peaks when Iruma, in his pure innocence, mentions he's jealous of her ability to go unnoticed at school while he accidentally becomes the center of attention. That's the breaking point. Amelie, who works her tail off to be noticed as an idol and ignored as a student, is so triggered by the protagonist's luck that her ice powers spiral out of control. She collapses with an emotional fever minutes before showtime, leaving the year's biggest concert hanging by a thread.
Someone! Please wake up, Kiriwo!
Backstage is more chaotic than a diva's dressing room before the Super Bowl. Amelie is out cold on the sofa, and her manager, Marbus Mar, explains the situation. Amelie is an ice demon, and if she overheats, physically or emotionally, she shorts out. And the blame? It falls squarely on Iruma for stressing her out. The pressure mounts as the crowd gets restless and the sponsors start looming. Amelie, in a true the show must go on moment, decides she's going to sing even if she looks like she was hit by a truck. Her obsession stems from her family. Amelie became an idol specifically to try and crack a smile out of them, since her home life is frostier than an ex's heart. But her body gives out and she faints again. Marbus wants to cancel, but our trio won't accept defeat. Clara has a brilliant or insane idea. She pulls some outfits out of her magical pocket. Outside, the fans are getting aggressive, nearly entering their evil cycles. The lights flash and boom. Iruma, Asmodeus, and Clara appear dressed as Dem dolls. The initial reception is colder than a bad stand-up set, but Clara takes charge and her chaotic energy infects the other two. They start winning over the crowd with pure charisma. Amelie, who is in the audience seeing her first concert, looks at the stage and goes full confused math meme, trying to calculate if that blue-haired girl isn't actually Iruma. Backstage, Carol Lee sees her friend's efforts and regains her strength through the power of friendship. She uses her ice magic to pull herself together and storms the stage for the climax. The trio becomes a quartet, and the show is an absolute smash. Beyonce at Coachella levels of iconic.
The opening act is now over. Ah, sorry I'm late. Hey guys!
In the end, there's a heartwarming moment. Carol Lee's family sent a letter. They didn't attend in person to avoid losing their emotional composure, but they watched from home and, gasp, actually praised the performance. Carol Lee finally gets the validation she craved. Back at school, she forgives Iruma, but issues a warning. From now on, they are rivals in the battle for popularity. After all the chaos, Iruma's life returns to a steady slice of life rhythm. He wakes up from a nightmare about his deadbeat biological parents, only to be greeted by Sullivan's 5-star hotel-style breakfast. On the way to school, Clara challenges the boys to a Fast and Furious style race, on foot. She taunts Asmodeus, wounding his noble pride, and the two speed off, leaving Iruma in the dust.
Go!
At school, the routine continues with magic classes where toad transformation is the homework of the day. The highlight is Amelie, who remains obsessed with reading shoujo manga with Iruma. However, her mind is elsewhere. She can't stop thinking about that Irumi girl from Kuromu's show. She tries to fish for information, but Iruma is too dense to realize he's being interrogated. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Iruma hits an existential crisis. He compares his miserable life in the human world to the paradise he now enjoys in the Netherworld. The fear of being discovered and sent back hits him hard, leaving him more depressed than the ending of a tearjerker movie. Noticing their friend is in a funk, Clara and Asmodeus decide to fix it the universal way: food. They organize a cooking competition to cheer him up. Clara goes full chaos mode, throwing everything she likes into a single pot. Meanwhile, Asmodeus, accustomed to gourmet ingredients and private chefs, is completely lost, trying to cook something ordinary. He treats a simple recipe like a nuclear launch code before eventually teaming up with Clara. The battle of the chefs ends in an accidental tie. They shove spoonfuls of both dishes into Iruma's mouth at once. Surprisingly, the mix of high-end gastronomy and homemade goop is delicious. Iruma flashes that signature anime protagonist smile and admits that despite their differences, he's happy right where he is. The choice is made. The Netherworld is his home, and he'll do whatever it takes to stay with his chosen family.
We gotta go!
We have magical PE next, remember?
The day starts peacefully, but Sullivan notices the gluttonous Feather's ring is hungry and charges it with a massive dose of mana. At school, the lesson is on transformation spells. Cherusil, a confident Iruma, attempts the spell, but something bizarre happens. Black smoke billows from the ring and takes form. It's the spirit of the ring, and it has finally gained the ability to speak, and he is definitely not shy. The little creature names himself Ali.
Nah, just call me Ali.
That works.
He arrives with serious attitude, acting like a judge on a high-end fashion reality show. Ali roasts Iruma's style, claiming he lacks elegance, and decides to give the boy a total makeover. What follows is a transformation montage that would make the Queer Eye guys proud. In the middle of this magical fashion show, Ali forces Iruma into a dress just as Amelie walks into the room. It's peak slapstick comedy. The student council president sees Iruma in drag. Her brain hits a blue screen of death trying to process if he has a secret hobby, and she flees.
Who's there? You need permission to use vacant rooms.
Really? Let me!
Iruma is desperate to explain, but Ali finds the whole thing hilarious. Later, Iruma tries to figure out what the deal is with this talking ring. He discovers, with Ali's help and some firework tests, that the ring's consciousness is tied to Iruma's rank. The higher his rank, the more awake and powerful Ali becomes. It's like leveling up in an RPG to unlock new skills. This gives our hero a new purpose. If before he just wanted to fly under the radar, now he has a reason to grow. He decides to aim for rank Dalit. The episode closes with a determined Iruma and Ali Ali promising that life is about to get a lot more interesting and a lot louder. Amelie's life is a total mess. She's been dreaming about Iruma, with him confessing his dream is to wear dresses. She wakes up in a cold sweat and her father, Henry, notices the tension during their morning video call. Like a classic overprotective 90s movie dad, he freaks out, thinking his daughter is dating Iruma, and almost crawls through the screen like Samara from The Ring to stop it. At school, Amelie's head is in the clouds, or rather in her shoujo manga. She tries to focus on student council duties, but is more distracted than a student on the last day of school. She decides to confront Iruma and finds him in an awkward situation, which only worsens the misunderstanding. To fix her life and keep Iruma close, to monitor him, she uses the power of bureaucracy. Since the magical apparatus battler doesn't have enough members, she declares it on hiatus and drafts Iruma into the student council as an intern.
You will have to undergo training and get permission from the student council and receive letters of recommendation from their presidents.
Poor Iruma becomes the gopher, waking up early, making beds, and following a military routine. But it's not all spreadsheets and cleaning. At lunch, a werewolf student enters his evil cycle and starts a riot in the cafeteria. Amelie doesn't hesitate, delivering a WWE-style dropkick that knocks the guy out instantly. Iruma is awestruck, thinking she's the most badass person alive. However, not everyone loves the tough-as-nails vibe. After Amelie tells Sullivan to get lost so she can work with Iruma, she has a sweet moment reading manga with our protagonist, but the mood sours when a teacup breaks. The classic horror movie Omen. She goes to investigate a call in an isolated room and is attacked by a mysterious figure with a strange perfume. The result? Amelie wakes up, but her Iron General personality is gone. She's now acting like a shy, helpless Disney princess, leaving everyone in a panic.
I feel a little, exposed and embarrassed right now.
The student council is living a logistical nightmare. With Amelie in damsel in distress mode due to a psychological spell, the group's efficiency has dropped to 0. She's overly polite, serving tea and apologizing for existing. Bizarre for someone who used to rule the school with a single glare. The council members are overworked and collapsing from exhaustion, while Iruma tries to figure out who would pull such a low move. Enter suspect number 1, Rono Wei. This guy is the definition of extra. Imagine Gaston from Beauty and the Beast mixed with a glittery K-pop idol.
What are you doing in here? You won't talk you long enough.
Viva, viva, bravo, Master Rono.
He bursts through the door with pink smoke, roses, and a musical number about how amazing he is. His plan? Take advantage of weak Amelie to dissolve the current council and take over as president. He challenges her to a dissolution election, claiming the school needs fun, not boring rules. Rono Wei, being the jerk that he is, tries to touch Amelie's hair to seal the deal that she'll be his secretary. Iruma, in a bodyguard-level protective reflex, slaps the narcissist's hand away. Rono Wei is in shock at being touched by a man for 0.6 seconds. Yes, he timed it. He exits the scene, promising to crush everyone in the election. The next day, Rono Wei is already campaigning, using his charisma magic to hypnotize students with empty promises and glitter. Amelie tries to give a speech, but her soft version fails to convince anyone. Iruma realizes things are looking grim and calls in Teen Iruma. He reaches out to Az, who nearly kills his brother out of jealousy for getting a call from Iruma, and Clara to help investigate.
Oh, Master Iruma! Yes, yes, but of course, don't you?
It's Iruma-Kun!
Meanwhile, Ali pops out of the ring and drops the truth. The spell on Amelie is technically broken, but she needs an emotional trigger to snap back to normal. The problem is, Amelie herself doesn't seem to believe she can do it. The situation is critical. Amelie enters the council room pretending to be back to normal, but Iruma sees through the act immediately. She's terrified, thinking that if she's just herself, the council will lose the election anyway. Basically, she has a massive case of imposter syndrome. Iruma gives her a motivational speech worthy of a sports movie coach, reminding her that her ambition is what drives the school. It's time for the debate in the auditorium. Rono Wei takes the stage and turns the event into a Broadway show, singing and promising to turn the school into a chaotic theme park. The crowd goes wild. When Amelie steps up, she tries to speak softly and politely, and no one listens. But then, it clicks. She realizes that being weak goes against everything she believes in. The trigger Ali mentioned happens. Rage and ambition explode, and the true Amelie returns with a vengeance. She delivers a powerful speech on desire and leadership, shutting Rono Wei up and winning back the entire school. Oh, and amidst all that, she finally admits to herself that she's head over heels for Iruma.
I want you to be the first to receive all of them. It appears I've fallen deeply in love with you.
Meanwhile, the Scooby-Doo crew solved the mystery. The culprit wasn't Runaway, but a creepy fanboy who used magic to turn Amelie into a helpless lady just to satisfy his fetish. Amelie, back in boss mode, sentences him to severe punishment. In the end, Amelie wins the election and invites Runaway to join the council, mostly because he's useful for distracting people. She offers Iruma a permanent spot on the council, but he politely declines. The kid wants to go back to his battler and grow in his own way. Amelie accepts, now with a new ambition, to make Iruma notice her not just as president, but as a romantic partner. The era of the hidden crush is over. Now, it's war. The episode starts with the energy of an exaggerated family sitcom. Iruma comes home to a surprise party. The problem is, Sullivan has been doing this every single day for the past week. It's basically Groundhog Day, but with confetti, cake, and a needy demon grandpa. Sullivan, trying to be the cool grandfather, suggests an after party and tells Iruma to invite his friends. Cue the classic social panic. Iruma has never invited anyone over in his life. Ali pops up to give him a nudge and stir the pot, suggesting Iruma clean his room to impress his girlfriend, Clara. Iruma denies it to the death, but when Az and Clara arrive, the kid is wound tighter than a guitar string. The night turns into a delightful mess. They eat dinner wearing ridiculous glasses and play a hellish version of Just Dance. Poor Sullivan loses badly and gets depressed because, in his head, a demon king shouldn't have two left feet. To regain his dignity, he proposes a new game, a basement dungeon crawl, tabletop RPG style, but live action. The plan was for Sullivan to look like a badass hero protecting the kids, but it goes south. Az and Clara, chaotic as ever, solve every problem with brute force and familiars before Grandpa can even make a move. In the end, Opera is the MVP, having prepared the sweets and organized everything, leaving Sullivan pouting in the corner. After plenty of laps and jumping on the bed, the friends leave. The ring decides Iruma needs to experience a demon's evil cycle firsthand and casts a sneaky spell on him. The next morning, when Sullivan and Opera go to wake the boy, they find a surprise that would give any parent a heart attack.
Become a bad boy. Become a bad boy.
You heard me.
Sullivan and Opera are in shock, thinking the student council broke him with overwork. But no, this is the effect of an artificial evil cycle. And let's be honest, the bad boy look really suits him. When Az and Clara arrive, Iruma treats Az like a loyal servant, which makes Az nearly faint with joy, and drops a compliment on Clara that turns her bright red.
Just as you should be, Clara. Keep it up.
At school, his posture changes the game. Instead of cowering before bullies, he tells Clara to sit on his lap like it's a throne, humiliates students for littering, and decides the misfit class doesn't deserve to study in a dump. Evil Iruma doesn't settle for less.
Fire. This is my class, my territory.
He channels his inner union leader and goes straight to the faculty room to demand a room change. And he doesn't want just any room. He wants the royal one, the former classroom of the Demon King Dirkila, which has been locked for centuries. Caligo obviously laughs in the face of danger and says, "No way," summoning Cerberus to intimidate him. But this new Iruma doesn't back down, not even for the guard dog of hell. The deal is struck. If the class can get the authorization signatures of every teacher in 3 days, the room is theirs. It sounds like Mission Impossible, but Iruma returns to the classroom and gives a reverse motivational speech. He tells them all that they are proud and selfish, and that's exactly why they deserve the best. The plan is set. They're taking the castle, and Iruma is leading the revolution. Ocean's 11 mode activated. Iruma orchestrates the entire class to get signatures through a mix of blackmail, bribery, and pure skill. The first target is none other than Caligo. Under Iruma's motivational pressure, Jazz uses his magic to pickpocket the school's scariest teacher and steal his personal ledger. With Caligo's secrets in hand, they convince Professor Momonoki to sign. From there, it's an insane domino effect. Alisher uses his giant brain to impress an academic professor. Kaim uses his perverted gentleman knowledge to win over another lecherous teacher. It's a festival of useless talents being put to good use. Even Iruma gets his hands dirty. He goes home and manipulates Sullivan by pretending to be his innocent grandson for 5 seconds to get an easy signature, then takes a smug selfie to prove he's got the old man wrapped around his finger. while Lyd and Elizabeth de X play a video game tournament against Professor Orias, who uses luck magic, basically cheating, Sabro gets the best character development yet. He swallows his titanic pride and bows to Professor Bure, apologizing for his past behavior. This secures another seal. The final move involves Amelie. Iruma goes to the student council and with his new dominant personality, turns on the charm. He explains he wants the royal one to give his friends a place of dignity. Amelie, who was already falling for him, is now basically melted. With almost all the signatures in hand, only the final boss remains. Kiriwo. The class is united, the plan is soaring, and Iruma is leading them like a true king. The tension is high, and bad boy Iruma is one step away from the legendary classroom. But Kiriwo, channeling a corporate villain from Suits, decides to play dirty. Professor Robin tries to argue, but is shut down by force, because Kiriwo is that annoying boss who reads the fine print of every contract. He refuses to give the final stamp. When the misfit class corners Kiriwo in the faculty room, thinking they've won because they have all the teachers' seals, Kiriwo drops the bomb. The agreement said everyone at the school. That includes the cafeteria ladies, the librarians, and even the janitorial staff. A classic lawyer move to screw over the protagonists. Iruma steps up to argue, but Kiriwo shuts him down. Just when all seems lost, the school's true MVP steps in, a janitor. Remember those flowers Iruma planted way back when? Positive karma comes back in a big way. The janitor stamps the paper and summons an army of support staff. Everyone Iruma helped, even unintentionally, shows up to back him. It's basically the end of It's a Wonderful Life, but with demons. Left with no choice and trapped by his own rules, Kiriwo is forced to stamp the approval. The royal one is theirs. The grand opening is a historic event, like the Met Gala red carpet. Orias even suggests changing the name from Misfit Class to the Incredible Class, which makes everyone nervous about the new responsibility. The big moment arrives as the doors open. The room is a palace. Iruma, wasting no time, marches to the back, finds a giant throne, and sits in it like he's the king of Westeros, leaving the whole class jaw-dropped. It's the peak of coolness. But all good things must end. The next day, the evil Cinderella returns to normal. Iruma wakes up, and the evil cycle wears off. Ali pops out of the ring excited for a party, but Iruma is having a panic attack out of pure shame. The moral hangover is brutal. He realizes he acted like a dictator for 3 days. At the mansion, Sullivan is playing He Loves Me Not with a flower, hoping his grandson stays a rebel, but Iruma shows up apologizing 1,000 times, back to his usual sweet self. Sullivan is moved, but Iruma refuses the fancy carriage and goes on foot to apologize to everyone. Oz, Clara, Amelie, and the whole class. In the end, they take an official photo with Iruma on the throne, but now he has the face of someone holding back a nervous laugh. Our boy Iruma is having an existential crisis in his room, remembering how his parents sold his soul to the devil. But honestly, his biggest enemy right now isn't demons. It's something that scares any teenager: finals. At school, the bad Iruma fallout is still happening. Az and Clara are stuck to Iruma like glue. Inspired, the rest of the class tries to crowd him too until Kiriwo enters and kills the fun. He announces the end of Terminus, which is basically summer break, but drops the bomb. Before the fun, there are exams. Fail, and there's no vacation. The problem? Iruma is human and technically illiterate in the demon world. He tries to study, but his grades are worse than a bad DC movie review.
5, 2, 0, 3, and 6. 7, what?
Az, ever the #1 fan, has a vision of the future where Iruma is the Demon King, which motivates him to start a study group. The goal is to get Iruma from rank Gimel to rank Dalet. The pressure mounts when Ali, the ring genie, has a breakdown. If Iruma's rank drops, Ali disappears. It's life or death, buddy. Iruma struggles until a magical book of mythical creatures appears. The book comes to life, and surprisingly, Iruma aces the animal questions. It turns out watching Animal Planet actually paid off. He enters a study high and becomes obsessed. Excited, Az suggests they study Netherworld history. They head to the classroom only to see students fleeing in terror like a slasher movie. They discover Professor Dali is off and the substitute is Balam, and this guy is no joke. The Iruma, oblivious to the danger because he's so focused on studying, walks into the empty room. Suddenly, vines sprout from the floor and pin everyone to the ceiling. Professor Balam appears, giving off major Hannibal Lecter meets Poison Ivy vibes, ready to start the scariest class of the year.
We're already here, and I really want to take Professor Balam's class!
Tension is high in the classroom. Professor Balam keeps everyone pinned by vines while lecturing on imaginary beasts. Things get dark when he starts talking about humans. According to him, humans are full of desires and highly nutritious for demons. Iruma breaks into a cold sweat. After all, he's the main course on the menu. Balam has a weird habit of touching students to verify their anatomy, like a doctor with no social cues. When he gets to Iruma, he notices something's wrong. Where are the wings? Iruma panics. The professor tears his clothes to expose his back, and Ali, in a moment of pure reflex, creates tiny fake wings to save the day.
What do you know?
It seems he does have them.
It was a close call, but Iruma escaped, becoming a snack. Later in the hallway, Balam approaches Iruma again. The vibe is heavy, and it looks like Iruma is about to be eaten. But Balam removes his mask to reveal a face full of scars and terrifying fangs. But it's not an intimidation tactic. He's opening up. He thinks Iruma feels inadequate because of his small wings, just as Balam feels isolated for being scary. The guy is actually nice. He just looks like a monster from a Blumhouse movie. Moved by his sincerity, Iruma makes the biggest mistake possible. He tells the truth. I am human.
I'm actually human.
Balam is so shocked, he faints. When he wakes up, he panics, hiding behind boxes for fear of giving in to the temptation to eat a student. But after the freak out, they have a sweet ET-style moment. Balam decides to protect Iruma and explains the real danger he's in. The next day, the class is divided between the geniuses and the dummies, where Iruma is, obviously. The goal is to pass the exams so everyone can go to Walter Park, the Netherworld's version of Disney World. Kiriwo appears in surprise. He and Balam were best friends back in school. Balam, worried about Iruma, creates custom illustrated books to help him study history using fables about torture. With this VIP material, Iruma evolves. The whole class catches the vibe and studying becomes a group activity. Iruma gets the hang of it and hits that study high again. Now the goal isn't just to survive, it's to ace this exam no matter what. The tension in the Royal One is at a Game of Thrones season finale level. Everyone has just turned in their finals, and Kiriwo, with the sadistic grin of a teacher who loves watching students suffer, announces he's handing back the grades. The class panics, imagining a summer trapped in remedial lessons. But in a Hollywood-style plot twist, the professor reveals the number of failures was 0. The room erupts in celebration, like a Super Bowl crowd, until Kiriwo tells everyone to shut up.
0, much to my endless chagrin. Ugh.
Silence!
You three, line up and...
He hands out rank-up badges to Gop, Kame, and Shax, who are now rank bet, and Alistair, the class genius, jumps 2 ranks at once. Asmodeus, of course, credits everything to the Iruma effect, saying our blue-haired boy's dedication inspired everyone, as already sees Iruma as a king. And Iruma is just happy he could help. The best part? Iruma's score improved the most in the entire class. He runs to tell Balam, like a kid wanting to show his report card to his dad. On the way, he bumps into the professor, who has a new look. His hair is trimmed to look less like a horror movie monster and more approachable. Balam is so happy with Iruma's grade, 81st out of 163 students, that he spins the boy in the air. As a gift, he tries to give him a salamander flower that breathes fire. Iruma almost has a heart attack, but Balam explains he removed the fire source, so it's safe. The two have a wholesome moment on a bench, talking about how Iruma has leveled up, and Balam changed his look. Kiriwo shows up to ruin the mood, holding back a laugh at his friend's new haircut, and reveals that Balam has the ability of a living lie detector. He knows everything, except when it comes to creatures that amuse him. Meanwhile, the ultimate girls' party is happening in the magical apparatus room. Amelie was ready for a date with Iruma, but Clara drags her in the tea carriage inside, where Carolee and X already are. The conversation ranges from shampoo. Amelie uses an expensive L'Oreal-style brand, while Clara uses soap for everything, like a 3-in-1 men's product, to relationships. Clara drops the bomb that she'd pick Iruma, which sends Amelie into a mental collapse.
I do Iruma-Kun!
Madam President?
The relaxing tea they're drinking hits hard, like a Long Island iced tea, and they start speaking their minds, debating marriage and the ideal husband. When Iruma finally shows up, singing karaoke, he is promptly kicked out because the meeting is strictly no boys allowed. Sullivan is in high spirits with the end of the semester, already planning a trip with his grandson. However, Opera, the efficient, Devil Wears Prada-style secretary, reminds him he still has work to do. Before leaving, Opera whispers a special request in the director's ear, and things look serious. Meanwhile, Kiriwo is tending to his cactus, sensing a disturbance in the force. He's right, his worst nightmare is about to begin. Sullivan has decreed that Kiriwo must conduct home visits for every student in the misfit class. The professor tries to bolt, but he's forced to go.
Right, aren't I?
Silence. That confounded chair demon. I just know he thought of this on a whim.
First stop, the Asmodeus Mansion. The place is ultra posh, complete with a butler. Alice's younger sisters appear, dying of jealousy because their brother only ever talks about Iruma. It's like a reality show family feud, with Az trying to explain that Iruma is his top priority. The butler even offers to sell Asmodeus's embarrassing secrets to Kaligo just to help the boy grow up. Next stop is Kaligo's personal hell, the Valak household. If you've seen The Sound of Music, imagine a chaotic, demonic version of it. The entire family greets the professor with a choreographed musical number. Kaligo is dragged into the dance, nearly held hostage by baby twins, and is only saved by the eldest brother, Urara, the only sane person in the house. The professor is stuck in this loop of music and madness for hours before escaping. After suffering through several other homes, he reaches the Suzuki residence. Kaligo tries to use Iruma as a human shield when he sees opera, but it's futile.
What are you?
All right,
Caligo.
Opera! I see ya!
You're right. It is I.
Sullivan appears and starts showing old photos, revealing that the tough guy, Kaligo, was once a kid who got picked on constantly, and guess by whom? Opera. We see a flashback of Kaligo as the nerd suffering at the hands of the bully, Opera. Sullivan and Opera turn the serious meeting into a total cringe fest for Kaligo. The next day, after being forced to sleep at Iruma's house due to a summoning circle mishap, Kaligo arrives at school with blood in his eyes. As revenge for his humiliating tour, he doubles the summer homework. Classic villain move. The episode ends with Iruma preparing for Walter Park, the underworld's version of Disney World. Sullivan and Opera go overboard with the luggage, acting like overprotective parents sending their kid to summer camp for the first time, packing him full of bodyguards and supplies. The big day is here. Iruma, Az, and Clara pass through a futuristic tunnel and arrive at the gates of Walter Park. The place is massive, packed with attractions, essentially the Universal Studios of demons. The whole class is there in casual clothes, and the chaperones are none other than the Golden Trio, Opera, Balam, and an extremely grumpy Kaligo. Since the class is so large, they split into 3 teams. Clara has the brilliant idea to turn it into a competition. The team that has the most fun wins a prize, while the losers get double homework. Kaligo hates the idea, but he's outvoted by Opera and Balam, who seem to be enjoying his suffering. They draw straws to decide the groups. Once the groups are set, Iruma's team runs into a massive crowd. At the center of attention is Runaway, the school's most extravagant and narcissistic demon, using his charisma magic to outshine a disco ball.
Beyond my comprehension!
We learn his father owns the park. Yes, he's a total nepo baby. Runaway decides to join Iruma's team to ensure they get the VIP experience. However, Runaway's idea of VIP fun is a bit macabre. He suggests an exclusive tour of the underground, where prisoners are kept to generate energy for the park. Everyone thinks it's a terrible and dangerous idea, but the plot moves forward regardless. Meanwhile, the camera cuts to the basement, Ouroboros prison. And look who's there. Kiriwo. Remember him? The masochistic traitor who almost destroyed the school. He's being taken to the mana drainage room.
I wouldn't exactly say that. Kiriwo, to your sentence. Hello? Why are you dragging me? I'm sorry.
But something is off. Instead of the infirmary, he and another prisoner are taken to an underground fighting ring. In reality, Kiriwo is plotting something big. He meets with a heavy-hitting group called the Six Fingers, and they are planning a prison break-style escape. The colorful park above has no idea of the chaos brewing beneath their feet. While the apocalypse hasn't started yet, the girls' group decides that the priority is a wardrobe refresh. Amelie is in that classic strike first, ask questions later dilemma. She wants a pretty dress, but it needs to survive a high kick in the middle of a fight. Clara, chaotic as ever, picks out a giant outfit that the shop fixes in the blink of an eye. The vibe is so good they even take photos doing Power Rangers poses with the staff.
What do you all say? Let's also pose and take a picture.
The photo reaches Kaligo's group, and the envy hits hard. The professor is sitting down surrounded by theme park trinkets, looking like he'd rather be grading papers in hell. Suddenly, 2 suspicious guys approach the boys. It looks like a mugging, but they actually want to play a target shooting minigame. Jazz and Goemon take the bait, but lose badly because a skeleton blocks their shot. It's a total scam, but the boys turn the tables, win the prizes, and walk away gloating. Meanwhile, Iruma is living his best life with Runaway until his phone battery dies, and he realizes he's wandered into Kararagi Street, basically the dark alley every tourist should avoid in a horror movie. He's nearly kidnapped but is saved by Shida, a park employee who exudes protective older sister vibes.
with my little brother?
She buys him a giant ice cream, they ride the Ferris wheel, and they share a sweet moment before she returns him to Balam. Back with the main group, Ronaway drops his mask to reveal he's a total soap opera heartthrob, leaving Agaris shocked and ready for a makeover. But the piece ends when an employee named Wet tells Balam he's going to file a report and leaves. The plot twist hits. Wet, Sheeta, and the other nice employees the kids interacted with all day are actually the Six Fingers, a hardcore criminal organization. To prove they aren't playing around, they release 3 giant monsters in the middle of the park, turning a day off into a Godzilla movie.
Utmost care.
Minutes before total chaos, Balam's group is still shopping. Agaris falls to the floor and, using his sensory magic, realizes the ground is way too hot. He deduces there are eggs hatching under the park. Sure enough, the monsters hatch Jurassic Park style and begin destroying everything. The Crimson Dragon arrives first, smashing the architecture, and Agaris has to use his earth powers to protect everyone from the debris. On the other side, Caligo's group faces the Mountain Blue monster. The students, being sensible, try to run, but Caligo goes into full Metal Jacket Sergeant mode. He blocks their escape and says it's time to test their combat skills. The problem? His team consists of a thief, a pervert, and a wind swordsman. Basically an RPG party with no tank or DPS. Jazz tries to argue they have no offensive magic, but Caligo doesn't care and tells them to figure it out. The students' obvious conclusion: adults are horrible. Underground, the prison break is in full swing. The Six Fingers invade Ouroboros prison and humiliate Vice Director Triton like he's a level 1 NPC. Back on the surface, Jazz takes leadership of the group after a sad flashback about his abusive older brother, Rock. He decides to use the trauma as fuel and devises a plan, remembering a whistle he wears around his neck. Meanwhile, Iruma sees the park in ruins and notices something disturbing. The other demons refuse to help the children trapped in the rubble. Balam explains the harsh reality. Demons are selfish by nature and only help if there's something in it for them. Iruma, who has the soul of a shonen protagonist, is pissed. He borrows Az's phone, looks at the destruction, and for the first time, feels genuine rage. The nice guy has officially run out of patience for giant monsters. The news is already covering the kaiju attack at Walter Park, and Iruma decides to stop thinking and start acting. He hands the phone back to Az and runs toward danger to save a child, ignoring all self-preservation. The Crimson Dragon tries to crush them, but Iruma uses his ultimate evasion skills, honed by years of trauma, and emerges unscathed, carrying the kid. He confesses to the group that he's furious and is going to take it out on the monster. The team catches the heroic vibe and heads in for the rescue. Meanwhile, in the emergency shelter, panic is widespread. Carol Lee realizes it's her time to shine. Literally. She changes her clothes, becomes the idol Kuromu, and puts on an impromptu show, turning the disaster movie into a Broadway musical to calm the crowd.
What should I do? Someone please! Cuteness or the magical beast's frightfulness? Which one is more powerful?
Outside, Amelie and Opera are facing the Panther Rat. Amelie is fighting like a beast, using chantless magic to protect Opera. After saving Clara, who was hanging off the monster's tail, classic Clara, Amelie finishes the beast off.
The Azazel family bloodline ability.
Are totally invincible.
Opera, impressed, offers her a job. Amelie initially refuses, but when she realizes working for Opera means living in the same house as Iruma and living a 24/7 rom-com, she changes her mind instantly. On Caligo's front, Jazz's plan kicks in. Kayam uses his ability to control a cloud of birds, Alfred Hitchcock style, to distract the mountain monster. Lid uses his magic to steal the beast's hearing, and Gop redirects the attacks. When the monster's hearing returns, Jazz blows his brother's special whistle, releasing a sonic frequency that knocks the creature out cold. Flawless teamwork.
The volume's gonna go from 0 to 11!
We actually won the fight!
I still can't believe I won!
Caligo only appears to give the finishing blow and ensure no one dies, but the kids did the heavy lifting. They take a victory photo, proving the misfit class is no joke. Now, only Iruma, Az, and Sabro are left to deal with the remaining giant dragon. Chaos continues at Walter Park. Balam, being the MVP teacher he is, has already secured the rescued children, but the focus shifts to the dynamic duo, Az and Sabro, who are in the middle of an aggressive therapy session while trying not to get roasted by the Crimson Dragon. It's a mess. Instead of cooperating cooperating, the two are measuring who has the bigger spell. The dragon, not one for games, takes advantage of Az's distraction, who stopped mid-fight just to admire Iruma from afar, and tries to turn the fire demon into a kebab. Az strikes back, Saburo complains about his aim, and the bickering continues. They even summon their magical beasts, but their synergy is zero.
Going to dedicate this victory to
Watching from afar, Balam is impressed by the freshman's raw power, but realizes he needs to intervene before they kill themselves. When the dragon unleashes an atomic breath, Balam tanks the hit to protect Iruma's group. The monster fires again at Az, and Iruma panics, remembering Caligo's sermon about loss. But don't worry, Saburo, in a surprising move of humility, throws himself in front and saves his rival. Az is livid at being saved, but Saburo drops the truth. He learned from his mistakes and evolved, while Az is stagnant, too obsessed with Iruma to grow. It's an emotional mic drop that leaves Az speechless. Accepting the moral defeat, Az creates a wall of flames to cover their retreat, admitting that, just this once, his rival is right.
You were right. I was behaving like such a fool.
Balam takes over the fight and dispatches the dragon with his Nagipnir. Victory? Not quite. The corpses of the 3 defeated monsters decide to Power Rangers it up and fuse into a colossal beast. To make matters worse, Opera confirms the creature has become a monotime bomb, capable of vaporizing the entire park. Caligo tries to improvise a defense with Agar as digging a pit, but there isn't enough time. The monster aims for the civilian shelter. Iruma is desperate to save everyone, but it seems impossible. That's when Rono Wei steps in, using his absurd charisma to draw the monster's attention. With the beast distracted, Iruma runs towards suicide. I mean heroism, pointing his ring of gluttony straight at the danger. With the magical bomb about to detonate, Iruma decides it's lunchtime. He activates the Ring of Gluttony's Ifrit mode and commands Ali to devour all the monster's energy. The ring's genie grumbles. The usual "I don't get paid enough for this" internal dialogue, but Iruma convinces his partner to help. The result? Ali transforms into a giant yellow cat, think a demonic version of Garfield or Kirby, and swallows the beast's magic whole, leaving only an empty shell behind. Caligo arrives to give the protocol scolding. After all, Iruma disobeyed orders and almost died, but the boy retorts that he followed his own desire to save everyone. Deep down, the professor knows the kid did well and promises that next time, he'll be the one to shine. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, the prison break is successful. The Six Fingers rescue Kiriwo, who is treated like criminal royalty. The other prisoners think they're getting out too, but Kiriwo flashes a sadistic smile, making it clear he doesn't care about anyone else. It's official. The shy boy has become a Joker-level villain. He speaks to Ball via radio, confirms the escape, and declares that he and Iruma are now mortal enemies. Back at the park, it's a party atmosphere. There's a Disney-style victory parade, and Sullivan arrives flying and crying literal buckets of pride over Iruma. Later at the hotel, the misfit class invades Caligo's room to party, proving that not even the apocalypse can stop this group from trolling their teacher. On the roof, we get the moment shippers have been waiting for, Iruma and Amelie alone. The student council president, head over heels, listens to Iruma reaffirm his pacifist ideals. The mood heats up, she asks for a private date, and of course Clara and Az pop up to ruin the romantic moment. Classic. But Iruma confirms the date anyway, making Amelie faint from emotion. The next day, the press swarms Hero Iruma, and to escape the paparazzi, he agrees to hide at Clara's house. Iruma and Az arrive at the hubbub forest and are greeted by a multiplied version of Clara. The genetics in this family are stronger than Iruma's plot armor. Before entering, they have to go through crazy rituals and answer who Clara's boyfriend is. Spoiler, she drags them inside before they can answer. Inside, there's a feast of mocos docos, sweet buns, and Az nearly has a stroke over the ridiculous food names. Clara's mom pulls out an embarrassing photo album, and when Iruma compliments her, Clara short circuits from shyness. But the chaos can't stop. She snaps and drags everyone out to go shopping. And shopping in the Valak land is basically an RPG side quest. The supermarket is a sentient hill full of natural food. Az, competitive as always, enters a cooking battle against Clara to see who can please Iruma more. Clara's mom suggests the ultimate ingredient, the shabu shabu fish, which lives in the collateral cave. It feels like like an episode of an extreme cooking show. They grab a map, leave the younger kids at home, and head to the cave. Once there, the fish turns out to be a monster trying to ambush the group. After a quick battle, because good food must be won by force, they bring dinner home. After a day that felt like a sugar-induced fever dream, everyone goes to sleep. The next morning, while preparing breakfast, none other than Henry, Amelie's overprotective father and a big shot in the demon border control, comes flying toward them. Trouble is in the air. Breakfast at the Valix remains an anthropological experience, but the party ends when Henry shows up with a very unfriendly face. Amelie's dad is there to warn them he blocked the press from getting near Iruma, which is great, but when Iruma asks about Amelie, Henry gives him the cold shoulder typical of a jealous dad in a rom-com. Meanwhile, Amelie is in her room planning the perfect date like it's a CIA military operation. She analyzes dresses, simulates dialogues, and panics over every text message. When her father enters and realizes what's happening, tension rises, but something rare happens. Instead of forbidding it, Henry remembers when she was little and wanted to go out with him. In the end, he lets his daughter live her life. The big day arrives. The date is at Aqua Case, an insane mix of an aquarium and a water park. Iruma rents swim trunks, and Amelie tries to put her conquest plan into action. The main goal? To hold his hand. It sounds simple, but the height difference and Iruma's natural anime protagonist denseness make the mission nearly impossible. They go down water slides, walk around, and every one of Amelie's attempts fails miserably. During a panic moment at the souvenir shop, she ends up helping Iruma pick a gift for Clara. She immediately regrets it. After all, she's arming her rival. Iruma, in his innocence, thinks she isn't having fun and decides to focus entirely on cheering up the president. Amelie's final card is taking him to a fortune-telling show with Mako, who supposedly identifies perfect couples. The problem? The seer is a hungry monster that tries to eat Iruma. Amelie goes into battle mode and saves the day, but feels sad for ruining the romantic mood with violence.
What do you think you're doing to Iruma? Now I've really done it.
However, Iruma notices she's hurt, uses magic to make her light, and Princess carries her. The boy scored a romantic touchdown without even knowing the rules of the game. Amelie declares the date an absolute success. Iruma is focused on his homework with Opera's help, but his piece ends when Sullivan bursts into the room, determined to go shopping. The doting grandfather wants to prepare Iruma for the new semester, but since the boy is now an underworld celebrity, they need disguises. Sullivan hands over magical glasses that work on Clark Kent logic. Put them on, and nobody recognizes you.
You're incognito with detection-proof glasses.
I'm going shopping with Grandpa for the first time. I wonder where we're going.
They head to Magical Street while Sullivan is swamped by fans and paparazzi. Iruma passes by unnoticed, overhearing gossip about who will be the next Demon King. They continue shopping for clothes and books, and Sullivan takes a moment to catch a shoplifter with the ease of swatting a fly. Mid-stroll, they have a heart-to-heart. Iruma asks what it takes to be the Demon King. Sullivan has a flashback of the former king, Durkee Law, and assures Iruma he will support whatever choice he makes, whether he wants to rule the world or open a bakery. The conversation plants a seed in Iruma's mind, and he starts considering the Supreme Ruler career path. But the calm doesn't last. Back at school, the misfit class is feeling like the elite after the events at the park. However, Kiriwo arrives to rain on their parade with a bombshell announcement. He uses a magical scroll that literally screams the new mission. Every student in the class must reach rank Dalet before the end of the year. If they fail, they'll be kicked out of the Royal One classroom. The shock is universal. Ranking up that fast is harder than passing medical school without studying. The pressure is on. It's the first day of the new term, and the misfit class's popularity is out of control. Iruma, Clara, and Az can barely enter the school without being trampled by a mob of crazed fans. The fame has gone to their heads so much that Lid and the rest of the gang are signing autographs at the classroom door like they're the Beatles in the 60s. Kiriwo, with his usual zero patience policy, restores order. He reinforces the ultimatum. To keep the former Demon King's fancy classroom, everyone must reach rank 4. To ensure they don't fail miserably, the school has hired special tutors for each pair of students. The mentor distribution begins, looking like an NBA draft. Jazz and Alistair are assigned to General Furfur, a guy who looks like he eats nails for breakfast. Goemon and Agares get Lady Vapor, who cries more than a reality show contestant but has terrifying water powers. Clara and Elisabetta will have hardcore seduction lessons with the succubus Ryan. Carol Lee and Kamui are with Mr. Hat, a feisty gentleman. And the heavy hitters, Az and Sabnok, will train with Balam. Who's left? Iruma and Lid. They think they got lucky, but they end up with Professor Robin, who is a nice guy but a total airhead.
He's right there. See for yourself.
Their disappointment is short-lived because Robin takes them to meet the relative who will help with their training, Bachiko. She arrives with a flying kick to Robin's face and has zero patience. Bachiko doesn't care about teaching magic. She turns Iruma and Lid into her personal slaves, making them buy snacks, carry her things, and in the height of humiliation, forces them both to dress up as maids. While the rest of the class is in brutal, Rocky Balboa-style training, Iruma is serving tea in a frilly dress. The path to the top is going to be embarrassing. Cinderella's nightmare continues for Iruma and Lid, who remain trapped in an infinite loop of maid cosplay and humiliating chores. Lid, who doesn't exactly have the patience of a saint, finally snaps. He decides to jump ship and look for Professor Robin, figuring anything is better than being Bachiko's scullery maid. Iruma, who's used to being through the ringer like a tragic soap opera lead, decides to stay, betting there's some method to this madness. Poor Lid. He thought life with Robin would be a breeze, but he fell into a trap worse than a loot box addiction. The professor is a hardcore gamer and locks Lid into a gaming marathon that would make any Twitch streamer call it quits. Meanwhile, the rest of the misfit class is living through their own horror movies. Goemon and Agares are basically being drowned by Lady Vapor in a grueling endurance test, while Clara and Elisabetta are learning the art of seduction from Ryan in a total Moulin Rouge vibe. Back to the main drama, Bachiko finally gets tired of playing house and drops a bombshell. She's an elite archer, a class as rare in the Netherworld as an honest politician.
Family, and I'm from the main family. Our abilities are about the same. Baby, right here!
She lays down the law for Iruma. Either he learns to shoot or he gets left behind. The problem? She has the teaching style of a drill sergeant and completely nukes the kid's self-esteem, calling him an idiot. Iruma is feeling down, but after calling Az and seeing that everyone else is literally bleeding for their training, he decides to suck it up and prove himself. Bachiko, seeing the kid has more guts than brains, decides to take him to forge his own weapon. And guess where this legendary weapon shop is? Right in Iruma's own school club, the magical apparatus battler. It seems fate loves a good irony. While Kalaga watches his students suffer with the grin of someone watching their favorite slasher flick, things get serious at Iruma's club. Bachiko reveals that to be an archer, he needs to create his own bow using magic and imagination. The problem is, Iruma has the artistic skills of a potato. The club president, Chanel, shows up and shows him how it's done, creating a bizarre bow shaped like Amelie, proving he's the series' ultimate otaku.
Delightful! Let's go! Quartz, quartz! My family heirloom!
Iruma tries to copy him but fails miserably time and again. Bachiko, who used to be a sweet teacher like Miss Honey from Matilda, turned into this hard ass because all her previous students gave up. She gives him an ultimatum. Iruma has one last shot or it's over. While Bachiko heads out to do some shopping, we see the rest of the class making insane progress. Goemon and Agares use physics to escape Vapor's water prison. Carol Lee becomes the jungle queen, dominating beasts with pure elegance. And Lid, the kid finally beats Robin at a video game, proving that all those hours in Minecraft and RPGs weren't for nothing. He won through sheer focus. Even Az and Sabnok managed to land a hit on Balam, working together like an action movie duo. Alone and under pressure, Iruma talks to Ali the Ring's genie. After a quick therapy session, Iruma admits his dark desire isn't world domination, but something simple. He just wants to stay with his friends. That honesty unlocks a massive power-up. When Bachiko returns, ready to kick him out, she finds Iruma holding a perfect bow. The boy didn't just pass the test. He left his master jaw-dropped.
What I said was, I want to stay here with everyone.
What in the... What's up, creeper peeper?
The team is ready for the battle royale ahead. The big day is here. It's time for the Harvest Festival, which is basically the Hunger Games, but in a forest full of monsters and plants that want to eat you for dinner. Before things kick off, Bachiko gives Iruma a final warning. He only has 2 magic arrows. It's like going to war with Hawkeye's gear, but with limited ammo. If he misses, it's game over. The atmosphere at the forest entrance is tense. We see some shady students, like Nafra, who smells worse than a locker room after a double overtime, and the Dorodoro brothers, who look like they're out for blood. Everyone underestimates the misfit class, thinking they're just a bunch of lucky friends. Big mistake. When our crew arrives, it's in slow-mo, Avengers style. Their presence is so heavy, it makes the other students shake. But there's a sad moment. Since the festival is in pairs, Az realizes he won't be able to stick by Iruma's side. He cries, but chokes it back to focus on the mission. The signal sounds and the carnage begins. Az, who was just moping a second ago, takes his frustration out on a giant tiger, taking it down in one shot. He and Sabnok decide that hunting small fry is for losers. They're going after the boss monsters and the legendary legend leaf worth 100,000 points. It's all or nothing. But right off the bat, the Dorodoro brothers show up to challenge the duo, turning the treasure hunt into a total gang war. The game is on and the forest is about to burn.
When did they even... I didn't sense them coming at all. Brothers.
What crawled up your butts and died? I was just giving you my thoughts, right?
But hold on, they aren't there for festival points. This is personal. They want their master, General Furfur, back. It's basically a custody battle, just with more magic and yelling. They propose a bet. Whoever hunts the boss monster first takes the win and the glory. While the testosterone is exploding in the forest, the camera cuts to Block 2, where Carol Lee is playing a real-life kingdom management sim. She's using the ultimate power of cuteness and leadership to make monsters and animals work for her. She's like Snow White, but with world domination ambitions. She's built a castle, has servants bringing her food, and maintains her untouchable idol persona.
You there, stop right now.
Meanwhile, Jazz and Alistair decided that hunting monsters is too much work and chose to run a demonic version of Ocean's 11. They set up a genius scam involving a fake delivery tower. Alistair pretends to fall for the smooth talk of a random student named Bobo, only to reveal that Jazz was disguised as another student the whole time. The result? They shamelessly rob everyone's points. And the worst part? It's within the rules, because psychological cheating is totally fair game. Then we get a flashback explaining how 2 average students became criminal masterminds. Their tutor, General Furfur, took them to a very shady nightclub, but it wasn't for fun. They spent weeks working as waiters, washing dishes, and learning to read the body language of adults and gamblers. The final test was beating Furfur at a rigged coin toss. They never won the game, but they learned to cheat just as well as their master. Back in the present, the teachers are watching everything on the big screens and they're impressed. Jazz and Alistair are crushing the leaderboard thanks to their trickery. But the question remains, where's the protagonist? The teachers notice Iruma is in Block 4, and it looks like he's got a giant target on his back with a swarm of students heading his way to take him out. While everyone expects Iruma to be fighting for his life Rambo style, the reality is quite different. The kid is cooking. Seriously. He set up a gourmet camp in the middle of this green hell. A quick flashback shows how he got to this master chef level. As soon as they entered the forest, Lid was worried sick, thinking Iruma, the headmaster's spoiled grandson, wouldn't last 5 minutes in the wild. Little did he know, Iruma activates survival mode. Since he grew up in poverty before becoming a demon, he looks at the dangerous jungle and feels right at home, like Bear Grylls in a 5-star hotel. Professor Balam explains to the viewers that this strategy is genius. The festival is a 4-day marathon, not a 100-meter dash. Those who burn through energy like crazy at the start will collapse at the end. Iruma and Lid spent hours playing real-life Minecraft, gathering resources and making food. The other students even give up on attacking them because the vibe is so peaceful they assume the duo has 0 points. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows for Lid, who's starving for some female attention. He complains that their mixer, their little party, was a total bust for him, and as if summoning danger, Clara and Elisabetta appear out of nowhere. It's an ambush. Before Lid can even process it, he's face to face with Elisabetta. Lid tries to resist, thinking she's using charm magic, but Elisabetta drops the truth. She doesn't use magic on boys she likes.
Example, I won't use it on boys I truly like.
She really likes me! What?
Lid, emotional and delusional, thinks he's special, hands over all his secret ingredients, and confesses his love. Then comes the cold shower. She likes all the boys in the class. It's the most brutal friend-zoning in history. She takes the points and leaves the fallen soldier on the ground. Meanwhile, Iruma is just chilling, trying to talk to Clara, but she's not in a chatting mood. She opens her mascot costume and in a scene straight out of a cute horror movie, swallows Iruma whole.
Clara? Gotcha!
Inside Clara's costume, the laws of physics have left the building. Iruma wakes up transformed into a child in a colorful, psychedelic world Clara calls the Toy Box. It's basically a controlled hallucination where the only rule is to play until you drop. Clara, trained by the succubus Rhyme, is using the ultimate tactic, being unpredictable and fun to win over her target. The catch is in the magical fine print. The more they play in this Alice in Wonderland world, the more Iruma's mana is drained. The kid knows he should be at the festival, but he's having so much fun. He forgets real life exists. They play until total exhaustion. When they both finally collapse, they have a heart-to-heart. Iruma admits he never has this much fun and blurs out,
I want to tell you how much I really love playing with you. In fact, I love you most of all.
The girl almost has a heart attack, but unfortunately, her battery runs out. Elisabetta unzips the costume and pulls them both out. The final tally, Iruma and Lid are drained, pointless, and dumped in the forest. The girls walk away victorious, proving they are far more dangerous than any monster. Night falls and the festival turns into a horror movie. The lack of mana and exhaustion start hitting everyone. Students begin to hallucinate, see things, and faint. Kiriwo has to intervene to rescue those on the brink of death, while Professor Orias leads the search party using his broken lucky magic, Deadpool 2 domino style, to find the lost students. In the middle of this nocturnal chaos, a group of girls flees a giant beast and stumbles upon an impossible structure in the brush. A castle, and who's there? Agaris. But not the sleepy Agaris we know. He's maskless, handsome, and looking like the lord of the manor, offering shelter with the mysterious air. Looks like the class sleeper was playing 4 deep chess while everyone else was chasing their own tails. While chaos reigns in a forest that looks more like a Hunger Games set inside Agaris' castle, the vibe is like a nightclub VIP lounge. Goemon arrives loaded with ingredients and finds Agaris surrounded by girls, proving that being lazy and mysterious is the new sexy. The girls apologize for crashing a space, but let's be real. A magical castle popping up in the middle of nowhere is an invitation you can't refuse. Agaris tries to keep up his solitary bad boy act and wants to kick everyone out, but Goemon, acting like the mom of the group, insists they stay for safety. The dynamic between these two is pure sitcom energy. The girls question their friendship, and Agaris gives the classic "we're not friends" speech, very Squidward talking about SpongeBob, while Goemon continues to look after him like he's a grumpy pet. Agaris complains that the swordsman doesn't respect his personal space and keeps dragging him to school, but deep down, we know he digs the attention. The proof? When Goemon leaves to rescue more lost students, Agaris, despite grumbling about there being no profit in it, ends up agreeing to take everyone in. The castle has officially become a humanitarian shelter. Cut to the teacher's tent, where the mood is more like a Friday happy hour. Sullivan, Opera, and a reluctant Bachiko join tutors Furfur, Vapor, and Mr. Hat. They start swapping stories about their students like proud parents at a PTA meeting, until they turn on the TV to check on Iruma. The scene is depressing. With 0 points to his name, our protagonist is there discussing his love life with Lid.
Just look at my precious Iruma! So it could just be...
Furfur is ruthless, mocking them and saying they should just quit. Bachiko gets triggered defending her pupils, but soon gives in to peer pressure and starts drinking with the gang. Deep in the dark forest, Iruma and Lid are still at the bottom of the leaderboard. Iruma, innocent as ever, asks his friend what it means when a girl says she likes you more than usual. Lid, still traumatized by Elisabetta's con, drops the hard truth. Don't get your hopes up, or you'll be destroyed. While most students are passing out from exhaustion, the battle between Asmodeus, Sabnok, and the Dorodoro brothers is heating up. Literally. The challenge is to knock down the golden fruit, a giant bird that requires 100 hits to drop the prize. It's basically an RPG boss with a massive health bar and a damage sponge mechanic. Sabnok and Asmodeus are giving it their all, but the rival brothers' synergy is insane. They use a bloodline magic called Switch, which works like an aggressive video game taunt. They swap places and provoke the opponent until they lose their cool and attack blindly. Nero, the strategist of the duo, uses Sabnok Sabnok's dream of becoming Demon King against him, nearly making the giant lose control. But Asmodeus, who's more than just a pretty face, catches on to the trick. Then the brothers reveal their tragic backstory. Fugitives who wanted to be war heroes and were trained on the battlefield by a mysterious master. And here's the season's biggest misunderstanding. They think Asmodeus and Sabnok's master is the same guy who trained them, General Furfur. Except our dynamic duo's mentor is actually Balam. When the brothers describe their master as someone who hates teaching and prefers drinking, Asmodeus and Sabnok are confused since Balam is the exact opposite and loves a good hug. Thinking they're being called liars, the Dorodoro brothers use their ultimate attack, Scream, driving the giant bird insane. Asmodeus loses his patience when they call Iruma and the class weaklings and decides to trigger his evil cycle. But this time, it's controlled. He turns into an elegant killing machine, shreds the monster, and grabs the golden fruit in a sequence worthy of a high-budget shonen anime. With the objective cleared, Asmodeus turns to the brothers with the look of someone about to commit a crime. Sabnok realizes things are about to get ugly and, remembering Balam's lessons on stopping a cycle of malice, jumps in front and screams the safe word, Iruma. It works just like Black Widow's lullaby for the Hulk and the Avengers. Asmodeus snaps back to normal with no memory of what happened, arguing about points as if he hadn't just almost vaporized 2 students. While the Dorodoro brothers are left in total shock. After the physical and moral beatdown, the Dorodoro brothers accept defeat. They hand over the ingredients to Asmodeus and Sabnok fairly, acknowledging they lost the 1v1. In a classic moment of warrior respect, they shake hands and promise a rematch, still convinced they share the same master. Spoiler, they don't. Day 2 of the Harvest Festival begins, and Iruma's situation is critical. Iruma and Lid are still sitting at 0 points, which sends Iruma into a panic thinking he accidentally ate his points. Lid, trying to stay optimistic, reveals the master plan. Find the Legend Leaf, a legendary item worth 100,000 points. It's like catching the golden snitch in Harry Potter. Get it, and you win the game instantly. The problem? No one knows where it is and they need intel. The genius idea? Ask the animals. And who speaks to animals? The resident pervert, Kamui. Using Lid's detection powers, they find Kamui and Carolee, but Carolee isn't playing around. She's built a massive kingdom in the forest, commanding beasts and students.
They're like super intimidating. Uh-huh.
To get the info, they have to pay a tribute, and the price is their dignity. Iruma and Lid are forced back into drag to perform a dance. They summon the traumatic memories of Bachiko's training and deliver an idle performance that leaves Carolee beaming, relieving her stress. The magical beasts love the show and drop a hint. They need the seed of beginnings and the pot of endings. In the teacher's tent, everyone is hyped at the possibility of someone finally getting this item. President Amelie, even knowing the game is somewhat rigged and difficult, secretly roots for her crush, Iruma. Meanwhile, in the dropout section, we find that boredom has turned into entrepreneurship. Jazz and Alasir turned their defeat into a Las Vegas-style underground casino, taking bets on who will win the festival. If you can't win points, you might as well win money. Jazz and Alasir are digging into some defeat ramen when Amelie shows up to rub salt in the wound, questioning what on earth they're doing there. Jazz, with his pride wounded, explains what happened in a flashback worthy of a psychological thriller. They were trying to avoid looking ridiculous, but Jazz started having heavy hallucinations. Suddenly, he sees his abusive brother, Rock, everywhere. Jazz loses it, tries to hit his brother, but ends up kicking Orobus, who was using Mysterio-style illusion magic. Since attacking another student is prohibited, the judge, a demonic camera, expels Jazz on the spot. The scariest part? Orobus has a full dossier on the misfit class's weaknesses. The guy is playing dirty. Meanwhile, in the forest, Iruma and Lid reach a crossroads with singing statues and decide to split up. The #1 rule of what not to do in horror movies. Iruma follows the path of the wife and ends up finding Nafra, a trapped student who smells so bad it even scares off the magic beasts.
Yeah, you're right. It's important to stay calm in situations like... I'm pretty sure that's a first.
Ali, Iruma's ring conscience, suggests leaving the stinky guy behind, but Iruma has a Captain America complex and decides to help. Result, he gets a sticky hug of gratitude. The two press on and reach a temple where they find the seed of beginnings. But of course, there's a guardian, Thoth, a Sphinx genie who looks like he stepped out of Aladdin, only much more bored. The challenge isn't a fight, it's entertainment. Thoth wants to hear something new, but he already knows everything. Like that one friend who spends all day on Wikipedia. Iruma, in a masterstroke, decides to tell him the story of the manga First Love Memories. The genie gets so hooked on the sappy teen drama that he hands over the seed, but almost won't let Iruma leave because he wants spoilers for the next chapter. They swap contact info like two nerds discussing fan theories, and Iruma leaves victorious, proving that being an otaku actually saves lives sometimes. With the seed of beginnings in his pocket, Iruma and his new aromatic sidekick Nafra try to leave the cave. The mood is calm, with Iruma reflecting on how he overcame his past traumas, until those traumas literally appear in front of him. Iruma's parents show up out of nowhere, and it's not a heartwarming reunion like the Nutcracker, it's the nightmare version. They admit they're deadbeat bums and want to take Iruma back home. When Iruma hesitates, they turn into a bizarre shadow monster.
Yell at them. I need to give them hell for selling me off.
Let's go, Iruma.
Iruma panics and falls into an abyss in a scene that mirrors Mufasa falling in The Lion King, just without the wildebeests. At the bottom, we find out this was all the work of Ouroboros, the villain using Batman Scarecrow-style fear gas to torture everyone's minds. Iruma survived the fall thanks to Ali, but the mental torture continues. He starts hallucinating that Asmodeus, Clara, and even Sullivan hate him and reject him for being human. It's emotional rock bottom for the boy. He curls up thinking he'll be alone forever until he hears his trainer Bachiko's voice in his head, giving him a motivational smackdown worthy of Mickey and Rocky Balboa. Iruma snaps out of victim mode and into Hawkeye mode. He materializes his bow, focuses his mind, and fires a perfect arrow, shattering the giant spider illusion Ouroboros had created. Exhausted but with the look of an anime protagonist who just unlocked a new power, Iruma grabs the seed and declares he's going to win this tournament. The nice guy is gone. Now it's war. It's the third day of the festival and the vibe is giving major Hunger Games finale energy. Everyone is exhausted, wounded, and desperate for points. Kalego, playing the part of the sadistic announcer, drops the current rankings and takes a public jab at a certain student who's sitting at 0 points and has gone MIA. Asmodeus and Clara realize the missing student is Iruma, but instead of panicking, they double down on their faith in him. Meanwhile, down in the cave, Iruma needs to get back to the surface. Problem is, the exit is way too high and his leg is busted. The solution? Use one of Nafra's grabgrass seeds. But where's the water to make it grow? Iruma pulls a Little Shop of Horrors move and uses his own blood, which is apparently nuclear-grade fertilizer after he healed that giant bird. The plant doesn't just grow, it explodes out of the ground like Jack and the Beanstalk on steroids, triggering a tremor felt by everyone. Iruma emerges from the hole riding the giant plant and accidentally live streams to the entire forest, shouting to Lid that he got the seed. Congrats, Iruma, you just doxed your location to every enemy. Kalego chews him out via megaphone, but Iruma confirms he's in it to win it. On the flip side, Lid has completed a marathon of 100 mental games and secured the vase of the end, worth a fortune in points. He's feeling like the king of the world until the teachers, in an epic privacy fail, announce over the speakers that Lid has the legendary item. Now, he's basically John Wick with a bounty on his head. Everyone wants his scalp and the vase. While trying to outrun the bounty hunters, Lid bumps into Elizabetta, and considering her powers of seduction, this might be more dangerous than facing a monster. At the rendezvous point, Iruma arrives all hyped with the seed of beginnings to meet Lid, but the mood sours fast because Lid is crying like a kid who just dropped his ice cream. The reason? He lost the vase of the end. And his story is humiliating. Apparently, Elizabetta showed up, asked for the vase, and after crushing Lid's self-esteem by listing why she'd never date him, the item vanished. The kid that played so hard, even a Nigerian prince would be impressed. Iruma, having a few more functional neurons, figures it out instantly. That wasn't Elizabetta, it was an illusion. The prime suspect, Ouroboros, the master of psychological trauma. To prove it, they need to find the real Elizabetta. Lid uses his controller ability to track her down and finds the girls' trio relaxing in some hot springs. The scene turns into an American Pie moment, with Lid trying to confirm their identities without looking like a total creep, but he panics when he hears Carol Lee suspecting spies. The trauma from fake Elizabetta hits hard, and he aborts the mission before getting cancelled. Meanwhile, the setting shifts to an episode of Game of Thrones. Carol Amelie, dressed as the Ice Queen, marches her army of beasts to invade Agares' castle, but she doesn't find a surrender. The castle crew, led by Agares and backed by Goemon, has decided this fort is their home, and they're defending it to the last, Lord of the Rings style. The battle begins, and surprisingly, Kamui shines. The pervert has learned to be eloquent, delivering a Braveheart-style speech that motivates the beasts to tear down the gate. But the real scene stealer is Goemon. Recalling Vepar's teachings, he goes full Avatar the Last Airbender, using the wind to stop the attack without hurting anyone. He looks so badass he becomes an instant crush for the girls, leaving Kamui seething with jealousy. The stakes escalate when boss-level beasts appear, but Goemon is in Samurai John Wick mode leading the defense, while Iruma and Lid watch from the sidelines, trying to figure out how the festival turned into medieval warfare. Orobas isn't playing around. He turns in the vase of the end at the intake counter, securing an absurd score, basically speedrunning the festival. Meanwhile, at the castle siege, things are looking grim. Goemon is still holding the line against giant monsters like Captain America with his shield, while Agares uses his earth magic to keep the walls standing. It's a defense so solid even the big bad wolf couldn't blow it down. But Elizabetta enters the fray with a nuclear weapon, her charm. She starts capturing the boys using seduction, creating a prison that looks more like a harem.
Affection, 60% released.
Lid and Iruma finally find the blonde fatale and clear the air. Lid does the classic insecurity test. Do you like me? The answer is yes, as a friend of course, confirming the Elizabetta who stole the vase was fake news. With the help of Kamui-E's universal translation, they decode Nafra and confirm Orobas is the culprit, specifically targeting the misfit class. We discover Orobas has a massive inferiority complex. He's traumatized by always being number 2, and he hates how popular the misfits are. Influenced by Ocho, who's basically the devil on his shoulder, Orobas decides to play dirty and targets Clara. He uses his trauma magic on her. The illusion is cruel. She sees Iruma acting like a total jerk, saying he only hangs out with her for personal gain and that she's annoying. It's heartbreaking, like that one scene in Mean Girls, but with psychological torture instead of gossip. But Clara has guardian angels. First, Lid locates her using the last of his social and magical battery. Then, in a moment worthy of Hawkeye, Iruma, even with a bad leg, fires an arrow from a distance and saves Clara from a carnivorous plant. The reunion is sweet, but Orobas arrives pissed off to ruin the moment. He's ready to strike them both down until Asmodeus appears out of nowhere, blocking the hit with that "don't touch my friends" vibe that makes any villain rethink their life choices. Asmodeus just committed a major foul. He attacked another student. The result? Immediate disqualification. But if you think he cares, you're dead wrong. He gives Orobas a speech, telling him the title of Young King means nothing compared to serving Iruma. He exits the tournament with his head held high, looking like an action hero walking away from an explosion without looking back. He warns Orobas that if he touches a hair on his friends' heads again, things will get ugly. After Asmodeus leaves, promising a party at his place later, because priorities, the plot twist hits. Iruma and Lid think they've lost their chance to win since Orobas made off with the vase. But then comes Alistair, the brains of the operation. He peels off a Mission Impossible mask and reveals he never actually gave up. The misfit class genius followed Jazz to the loser's tent just to spy, uncovered Orobas' dirty laundry, and set a trap with a fake transmission tower. The result? He stole the vase of the end back. Alistair pulled off an Ocean's 11 heist and in a supreme gesture of friendship, hands the vase to Iruma and Lid since he doesn't want to win without his partner. Someone give this lion a Best Friend award.
Is yours.
Meanwhile, in the rest of the forest, Sabnok literally slept on the job. The guy was so focused on being the Demon King, he passed out from exhaustion, losing his chance at victory. Back at the castle war, Carolee shows her soft side and decides not to sacrifice the beasts for points, accepting their loyalty instead. Agares and Goemon also make out like bandits, receiving tons of ingredients from students grateful for their protection, ending the event rich. Now, with both the Seed of Beginnings and the Vase of the End in hand, Iruma and Lid have everything they need. It's time for the moment of truth, making the legendary leaf bloom and taking home the championship. The stage is set for the grand finale. Time is running out and the pressure is peaking. Balam is watching the forest like a sniper, ready to catch anyone trying to cheat in the final seconds. Meanwhile, Iruma and Lid are staring at the seed of beginnings with blank faces because the thing just won't bloom. Lid, in a Jimmy Neutron brain blast moment, remembers the whole test is about what they've learned. The answer isn't complex magic, it's the basics. Professor Susie's spell. They try the Quan Quan spell, but nothing happens because their mana tanks are emptier than a bank account after Black Friday. That's when Clara steps in. Since she spent the whole festival playing, her battery is at 100%. With a little help from Nafra, the mysterious bug girl, they form a circle, hold hands, channel Clara's energy, and boom! The seed explodes in smoke. When the dust settles, what appears is a somewhat ridiculous-looking sprout. They leave the forest looking defeated, but when Balam and Susie analyze the plant, bingo! It's the real legendary leaf. Iruma and Lid score 100,000 points, becoming the instant kings of the game. Clara and Nafra, being the absolute homies they are, wave their points to help their friends. At the ceremony, everyone thinks Orobas took the young king title with his 58,000 points. The guy takes the stage looking melancholy, feeling like he won but didn't deserve it. But then Jazz, channeling his inner Better Call Saul, drops an objection. He points out the teachers forgot to add the 20,000 points from the vase of the end to Iruma and Lid's total. With the correction, the dynamic duo jumps to 60,000 each and takes the gold. Orobas drops to third and ironically feels relieved to be rid of the burden. He apologizes and makes peace with the crew.
Allow me to apologize for everything I've put you through.
To top it all off, Amelie tries to say hi to Iruma but gets blocked by VIP security. Nafra, we find out the shorty is not only part of the student council, but had the rainbow watering can the whole time. And the grand finale, the legendary leaf itself starts talking. It praises the group's chaotic and determined vibe and prepares to grant the ultimate prize. The legendary leaf decides that talking isn't enough and lets out a light so bright it blinds everyone. When their vision returns, the macabre forest has turned into a romance anime backdrop. Everything is covered in cherry blossoms. Everyone is marveling at this alien plant, but Iruma and Lid share a look. They know this is a piece of Earth. Basically, they brought Japan to the Netherworld.
Well fought, my young demons.
Sullivan arrives all doting, looking like a proud dad at graduation, and starts handing out the rank upgrades. Iruma and Lid jump straight to rank Dalit, joining the freshman elite. The rest of the class isn't far behind. Orobas, the sleepyhead Sabnok, the construction duo Agaris and Goemon, and the beast queen Keruli all rise to rank Gimel. Of course, it's not all sunshine and roses. Asmodeus stays at his current rank because of the disqualification, but he's such an Iruma fanboy he's practically setting off fireworks just seeing his friend get promoted. And Jazz? Well, he stays at rank Gimel. In the middle of the party, a Men in Black moment happens with Orobas. He mentions having a partner in crime but can't remember anything, as if his memory was wiped. While the gang celebrates, Robin whispers to Kiriwo that the mission was accomplished. Balam questions if it's wise to let the misfit class cause such a ruckus, and Kiriwo, in a rare moment of kindness, or exhaustion, admits they did well. But the peace is short-lived because Iruma summons Kiriwo in the middle of the party just because everyone wanted to see his pet.
Experience, they'll have plenty to reflect on, and...
Master Iruma!
Wow, I haven't seen that.
At the end of the day, Asmodeus and Clara escort Iruma home, where he's greeted by Sullivan and Opera with a feast fit for a king. The human boy survived, won, and leveled up. Just another day in the life of the future Demon King. While the students are partying at home, the real happy hour is happening at the teacher's lounge, and the bill going straight to Sullivan's corporate card. Kiriwo, taking advantage of the perk, orders the strongest, most expensive drink on the menu, but it's Balam who downs his glass without flinching. Robin tries to keep up and almost hits game over. In this relaxed atmosphere, we learn the mentor's family tree. Dali trained Kiriwo, who in turn trained Momonoki and Robin. That explains a lot. Robin even tries to nudge Momonoki to sit next to Kiriwo, making her turn redder than a tomato since she has an obvious crush on the grumpy boss. But the talk turns serious when Dali reminds them that a teacher isn't just a friend. They're a bodyguard. The priority is protecting the students from any external threat. Speaking of threats, we get a tense flashback. While we were watching Aruma's victory in the last episode, Robin was in American sniper mode on the school rooftop. The target, Ocho, Orobas' partner who was trying to sneak away. Following Caligo's orders, Robin lands a warning shot right next to the little guy, making it clear that trespassing is a bad idea. Ocho escapes wounded, but alive.
Trade on one target!
It'll always be a perfect shot.
The scene cuts to the villain's hideout. A battered Ocho reports back to Ball and the traitor Kiriwo. The bad news? The plan failed. The catastrophic news? Ocho bugged Iruma during the festival. They hit play on the recording and hear loud and clear Iruma confessing to Lid that he is human. Kiriwo's reaction is pure terror and ecstasy. He starts salivating like a predator, realizing he now has the perfect weapon to break Iruma's spirit. The most dangerous secret in the series just fell into the laps of the worst possible enemies. Things are looking high-end in the Netherworld because Sullivan is more hyped than Steve Jobs unveiling the first iPhone. The old man is absolutely gushing over Iruma's success at the festival, to the point where Opera has to step in and be the buzzkill. The mission now is simple. The boy finally asked for a gift. And no, it's not a sports car or world domination. It's just a handheld gaming console. His grandfather, being his usual extra self, wanted to buy 666 units, but Iruma kept it humble. The scene shifts to Lid's house, where a stealth op worthy of Metal Gear Solid is underway. They need to sneak past Lid's older sister's room without making a sound because, according to him, the beast is dangerous. Lid's room is a gamer's paradise, and they start playing a Monster Hunter style game. Lid picks a dragon, basically a buffed up Charizard, while Iruma goes for a kitten, trusting Opera's reliable vibes. However, the game turns into The Sims when Lid reveals you can get married in-game. He tries to pivot to romance talk and pulls out his secret weapon, a sketchy magazine, the classic kind kids used to hide under their mattresses in the 90s. The excitement causes a ruckus and wakes the beast. Shaki, the sister, storms in with a hangover that looks like she spent a week in Vegas. Her rage lasts exactly until she spots Iruma. Then, the girl pulls a Cinderella glow-up faster than you can blink, trying to impress Sullivan's grandson.
Leech, you noisy dumbass! Quit it with the yapping! Hang on one sec! Just get out of my room! Let go! Why won't you let me talk to the cute boy?
Lid goes into full protective mode, telling his sister to get her bad influence away because Iruma is too innocent. In the end, there's a sentimental moment where Iruma says he sees Lid as a brother, specifically a little brother. Lid gets brother-zoned hard, losing his status as the adult king of gaming. Meanwhile, Iruma is reading manga to Amelie with more drama than a Mexican soap opera star. Inspired, Amelie decides to cook for him. The only problem? Her father banned her from the kitchen for the good of humanity. The solution? Cooking at Iruma's mansion. What follows is an episode of MasterChef, Nightmare Edition. Amelie dumps in an entire bag of sugar. Iruma adds a block of butter, a la Paula Deen, and the mixture takes on a life of its own like Frankenstein's monster. Opera, who is watching them like a security camera, can't stand the culinary crime and intervenes. Under their supervision, they end up with perfect cookies shaped like their friends. A classic rom-com atmosphere takes over. Amelie has Iruma sit on the counter so they're at eye level, a scene straight out of a Netflix teen drama, while she hands him her gift.
I didn't get to properly congratulate you earlier, so,
Bachiko is sitting at the breakfast table breaking into a cold sweat, looking like she's about to meet the Queen of England. But Sullivan, being his charming self, just wants to say thanks. He praises her work as a tutor, noting that her power rivals the government's elite. However, the mood shifts into a spy thriller when the old man reveals that people are vanishing, courtesy of a group called the Six Fingers. Then comes the nuclear bomb. Sullivan asks Bachiko to keep protecting Iruma, and casually drops the fact that the boy is human. The archer's brain completely glitches. Full windows, blue screen of death.
Especially since Iruma's human.
Yes, sir!
Sullivan even offers to wipe her memory Men in Black style if it's too much to handle, but before she can decide, Iruma appears. The pieces click together. Bachiko finally understands everything that was off about the kid and decides to embrace the cause, keeping Iruma as her favorite student and errand boy. Cut to Iruma and Clara heading to Asmodeus's house. And house is an understatement. The place is bigger than Wayne Manor. Clara immediately enters chaos mode, running, surfing in the fountain, and scaling expensive vases like Spider-Man. Iruma panics, thinking Asmodeus Asmodeus will flip out, but his friend is on cloud 9 just to be sharing the same rank as the protagonist. The dynamic turns into Tom and Jerry when Clara starts teasing Asmodeus about still being a lower rank, mocking his old arrogant self. They start bickering, throwing things at each other, until food arrives to save the day. After the snack, Asmodeus shows off his room, which is basically a shrine to Iruma. We're talking Helga Pataki levels of obsession. There are photos, newspaper clippings. It's flattering, yet mildly terrifying. During a bathroom break, the weight of the world hits Iruma. He feels like Peter Parker carrying the burden of a secret identity, terrified that if he reveals he's human, he'll lose his friends. That's when Asmodeus' mother, Amaryllis, appears out of nowhere with a ninja hug. She gives him the best advice of the day. Friendship doesn't require a full background check. You don't have to tell someone everything to be loyal to them. Recharged and rocking some borrowed clothes from Asmodeus, the drip is immaculate. Iruma returns to the room. He doesn't confess his secret, but he gives an emotional, "Thank you for being here" speech worthy of a teen drama season finale. He thanks Asmodeus for having his back and Clara for never giving up on him. The trio ends in a group hug, proving that the power of friendship is the ultimate cheat code in this anime.
So unbelievably happy that I have the two of you as my friends.
Master Iruma!